This is a song that my mother taught me. The boogeyman, the boogeyman, the boogeyman, boo. He's an awful man, a terrible man, a wicked man too. He often chases children and catches them like mice. His teeth, they are awful, and his breath, it is not nice.
So we're on our way in a snowstorm to go try to find someone who's lost in the woods. You'll say a prayer.
Footsteps walking when I do, I hear the sound, but see nothing as I look around. I see many eyes shining, following everywhere I go. Every time I look in the dark, they're looking at me. A foul smell in the air as people walk around without a care. Shadows in the corner of my eye, but when I turn to look, there is nothing there. A blur passes by, but what do I see? Only that who calls my name from the forest, the same as my father do. My hair stands up on the back of my neck. I feel sick and dizzy now. Disoriented, spinning around. A large wolf on 2 feet follows me, lurking and smirking from tree to tree, whistling for me to look as a clawed hand waves. My body tries to tremble, but I'm staying brave. Something sways back and forth, I look away. I remember my mother always told me that when I hear and see this in the woods or around town, I am to sound the alarm, but let others know predator bigfoots are hunting, and I should go and let her know. My father knows what to do as he calls to other men too. Mothers find their children and let them know to stay close. Stay in the house and pull the shades down. Hold your breath and don't make a sound. On from the teaser before the predator bigfoots are back and hungry for more. Man and woman, form lines to clear the land. The brushes beat as townspeople walk from the street to the wood line, moving slow into the woods now, making no sound as a gifting tree is found. Food and children's items with sales and flowers too. Why would someone do this to our town? Putting us all in danger. The shoes of a stranger are seen. Someone has been feeding predator bigfoots near our family's home. Trees bowed and pulled down, sharpened spikes placed in the ground as the forest goes quiet. Not a bird, cricket, or frog. The trees are still, the forest has a chill. Weapons now ready as all know the sign that predator bigfoots are around. Now it's a trap as he slaps on a tree. A whoop over there and a breath next to me. Now whoops everywhere behind every tree. A raven's call, but that's not all. Coyote sounds, how his broken branches are heard. The babies cry, I hear a hoot, and an owl flies by a call for help. Then the sound of a scream, like a dream will come to the reality of now. Predator bigfoots all around. They didn't make a sound till now. We all know, put the sign at his head to slow their charge. People run from fear as others stand clear, calm in their aim as the ground is now stained. The forest now quiet as only few walk away. Now we look for
Our verse tonight is from John chapter 14, verse 27. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Can you pray? Father, we thank you so much. You're just so amazing. It's been a wild ride the last couple weeks, from loss of loved ones, finding loved ones, just everything from birth to death. We know that you have it all under control. Lord, everything that seems like it's a failure, whether it's caused by the enemy or whether it's caused by you because it's not the path that you want your children to take, we know that you'll make it better. No matter what, we know that your plans are the best plans. And Lord, always keep us on that path that you want for us. We're so grateful for all the ways that you orchestrate things, the people that you remove from our lives, the people that you bring into our lives. Truly, truly, Father, just thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the people here. Thank you for the opportunities that you give to us. Thank you for the training that you give to us, the wisdom and the knowledge that you pass on to your children. Thank you for this platform. Hide it from the eyes and ears of the enemy. And Lord, let those with ears to hear and eyes to see recognize what they need to and take from it what they need to, so that all your children can be safer, Lord. And for the people that don't know you yet, Lord, we pray for them too, that they reach whatever point they need to reach, so that they're so desperate, if need be, that they call out to you, because you're always right there, just standing on the other side of the door saying, I'm here. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. In Jesus' name, in the name of your son, Yeshua. Amen.
Amen. And also, we are streaming on 3 platforms tonight: Facebook and LeadTrackerE's channel, plus this channel. And we have new equipment, so you should be able to hear us a lot better tonight, more clearer, as you would say. But we just wanted to let everybody know that we are happy to be back. We've been kind of, like LeadTrackerE was saying, we've been busy all over the place, but we've got a chance now to get back into this. Well, it's not a studio, but
Yes, it is.
well, I guess it kind of is. We're back. So and we got some more things coming up. We just can't really talk about right now, but some things we can.
And we're very thankful for this equipment, the new equipment. We tested it out earlier with War Chief and Tracker Lorna. They helped us test it to make sure it would be running smooth for tonight. And let us know in the chat if you all can hear us well. And
if you can hear us clear tonight. Also, trackers, we did even that recording, that test that we did, we're going to send that to y'all also, so you can kind of, because we started off just testing, and next thing you know, we started talking and open presents and a whole bunch of things. So we want to send that to you. So and we even talk about y'all during that test, and that we're going to get this the recording to y'all. Also, of course, our books here that are very important to have, especially in the cryptid field. Prayer to Bigfoot and Spiritual Warrior's Path. That's on Amazon. Also, in the Spanish version, Pai Grande el Depredador y el Sendero de Guerrera y TrackerElla. Also, Bigfoot Gifters. I believe that's $12. These two are $20. And the Bigfoot Gifters is also in Spanish, which is Las Ofrendas de Pai Grande. Also, Monster Spotters, the children's book, which was written and illustrated by LeadTrackerE. The artwork is just amazing. So if you ever get a chance, these are the books you need, especially in this field. They will help you. They will keep you safe. They've been called manuals and life-saving manuals.
Even the children's book, it's not just entertainment. It's to equip your child, or even adults with short attention spans or very short on time. They can go through that book and learn enough to keep them more safe. And then when they get time, read the longer version that goes into great detail, the Predator Bigfoot book.
Mm-hmm. And we have been very busy. We got so many things that we're doing and we love being so busy, you know.
The days go fast.
And we don't want our Creator or God to know that we're not appreciative of keeping us so busy. We got so many things that we got to do, but we're getting them done one at a time. But also, like I'm just about to say, that we have our webpage, Predator Bigfoot and Spiritual Warriors Path. Just go into your search engine to predatorbigfoot.com, and that will take you to our webpage. This was a gift from one of our trackers, a very special tracker who put this together for us. You can find the playlist and where to order books. And also, if you do want a book autographed by us, you can order through us in the description, or just email us, Facebook us, get a hold of us that way. And we are also on May the 16th. We will be, this is actually, I'm sorry, May the 16th, we will be having a book signing at the Antlers Public Library on May 16th, 2026 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Now, on Tuesday, Cinco de Mayo, May the 5th, we will be doing a short, I forgot what they're called whenever you do a little
interview
promotion type thing. It's there's a word for it. I can't think of what. But we will be doing a quick interview, 10 to 15 minutes, on KDO 102.3. KDO 102.3. Sound like we're in the studio. KDO 102.3 on your dial, Papa. We should have music for that. But that we'll be doing, and we will try to record that and put that out also as a promotion for the book signing at the Antlers Public Library. Let's see. Floor is open if you have.
I'm just trying to look in. This is the first time that we've tried to stream on both channels. And if you haven't signed up or subscribed to the Peculiar Path channel, which is going down in numbers, if you haven't subbed to that one, please do. And I'm also trying to check the Facebook page, because it's the first time we've done multi-streaming like this on more than one platform. So that's what I'm doing.
So, okay, let's get to the comments and see who's all here, and then we'll introduce our guest, and we will begin with some exciting, well, I don't want to say exciting, some experiences
that
has happened in this area, in the local area. Who do you think is going to be first? Flip a coin?
It's not Tracker Lorna, is it?
What? It sure isn't. Chloe. Oh, look at that.
Wait. Elastic Machinery. Oh, he beat you, Tracker Lorna. He says, I'm so looking forward to this. Will be a much invited distraction. Good. Glad to see you.
And he came on at 5:26. Just to put it.
He did that on purpose, Tracker Lorna. We were keeping Tracker Lorna busy while he was sneaking in the room.
That's right.
Tracker Lorna says, hi, Jerry and Ella Williams, with hearts and prayers.
Let me see if... All right. Thank you for letting us know that we sound clear and great. Thank you so much. Did you do Tracker Lorna's?
I did.
Okay.
War Chief says, Halito, Osio, and Ola, Jerry Lead Horse Choctaw Williams, Ella LeadTrackerE Williams, Warrior Trackers, Shadow and Thunder Trackers, and friends.
Wow. All right. Hey, Tracker B.
Bernice.
Thank you, War Chief.
A few days ago, our last live stream was an update from Bernice, which is Tracker B. She's saying, hey, War Chief, be sure you check that out. Elastic Machinery says, hey, War Chief, it was so nice to hear your update. And he's talking to, hey, War Chief. And then he says, it was so nice to hear your update, Bernice.
At Bernice.
Well,
okay.
Been wanting to hear back from you for a while now. Glad to see your son's doing well enough other than the stresses of being attacked.
Okay.
War Chief says, hey there, Elastic Machinery. It wasn't my son who had the encounter in 74. It was me. Beavers Bend State Park in Oklahoma on the Mountain Fork River. I think he was talking to two of you at once. He was telling you hi, and then he was talking to Bernice, but within the same comment, War Chief.
That was a little confusing, but
Steve,
we'll get through it.
Oh, and War Chief is saying halito to Bernice, to Tracker B. And Steve is here. That's our guest for tonight.
Hey, all right, Steve. Glad you're here already.
He says, hey, brother, you will recognize him by the grin.
Yeah.
Heart of Dixie says, where are we?
War Chief.
War Chief says, halito. Heart of Dixie says, hey,
Heart of Dixie's here.
That's Tracker A.
Tracker A.
War Chief says, Osio to Tracker A. And Tracker A, soon. We know how busy you are, but we really want to update with you soon. And it can be live stream. It can be a phone call. We can record a phone call, however you want to do it.
Sure, I'm gonna see if you can do this. I'm gonna tilt these lights a little bit, just to make it low.
Hold on.
I hope I don't make it too bright, but
yeah,
maybe
I'm good with the low lights. For people like War Chief that's got that super huge TV. Okay, where are we? Hurry. Heart of Dixie says, hey to War Chief. Shade says, all right. Shade is here. The Shade says, all right, great. I'll spend my last hour awake watching this. Thanks. Awesome. Tracker Lorna is saying hi to Shade. Shade says, good Friday evening, Tracker.
That's a little broader.
Shade says, I love that intro and music. Thank you.
All right.
And we wrote those songs for people that don't know. That's our music.
CT
says, howdy, everyone. We're so glad to see you. It's been too long.
It has been. It's been a while.
We think about you all the time, but we know you're super busy.
Yeah.
Always working. You work enough for 3 people. Tracker Lorna says hi to CT. There's Scott.
Wow, Scott
Marine
is here.
is in the room. He says hi, Jerry and LeadTrackerE.
All right.
Always good to see your name pop up. War Chief says halito to Marine. Scott says halito to War Chief. War Chief says this song is great. Then where are we?
Shade Viking says this song is great.
Yeah, I think my eyes are getting tired and it's a little too far from me. So you take it over and I'm going to check these.
Peculiar Path, which is LeadTrackerE's channel. She put the verse up, which is John 14:27, and she is waving at the good people. LeadTrackerE, Lorna is saying hello to LeadTrackerE. War Chief is saying howdy. Elastic is saying yes, War Chief. I meant that part. And this is about the prayer. It says amen from War Chief. Elastic Machinery is for, he's saying that was for B, Tracker B. And Steve was saying, hey, brother. Well, hey, brother, how you doing? Am I in? Or
it's supposed to be like centered here.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
There we go.
Steve is here. He's letting us know I am here. And this is also about the prayer. Heart of Dixie says amen. Elastic Machinery says amen. Thumbs up from War Chief.
I don't see it streaming on Facebook.
How does it sound?
What? That computer?
Yeah, okay. As long as it's the old computer, not anything new equipment. Tracker Lorna is saying amen. And she's saying everything is perfect. Heart of Dixie is saying that we sound great. Looks and sound great. We are very happy with the audio now.
So thankful.
One of our trackers got it for us for another project that we're working on, which we're working on project for them. Actually, 2 projects for them.
And then she said we could keep it.
And she said that we could keep it and we hope that she has more projects that we can help her with the equipment for sure.
And we can't wait to tell you all about that, but we can't yet.
Yeah. There's a lot of things we can't say yet, but we will get to that. Shade Viking says the audio sounds good to me. All right. Night Stars is here.
Night Stars.
Get some coffee, Night Stars. Do some jumping jack, push ups. Oh yeah, we gotta get some coffee too.
I've got it right here.
I think she fell asleep the last stream.
Uh-oh.
She said. Elastic Machinery said looks
also
great.
Ahead of us on time.
Okay, and sounds great by the way. All right. War Chief is saying hello to Night Stars, and she is saying cool. And salute from Shade Viking, and Holly told the Shade Viking from War Chief, and Night started saying hello to War Chief. Shade Viking saying Jerry and Ella and Trackers. Shade Viking, perfect show to wind down tonight.
Nice.
Tonight, thanks. He says.
Did y'all hear that coffee pouring? How sensitive is that mic?
No. TrackerElla, I might have been talking over that. TrackerElla saying hi to War Chief and to Elastic Machinery. And Elastic Machinery said, I could sense TrackerElla was distracted. He used the Jedi mind thing. He said, so I moved in and now I'm at the top. He sure is. He said, good to see you, Elastic Machinery. Said, good to see you, Shade. Le Mon Cherie.
Cherie.
Good evening, everyone, she says. Lorna saying hello to B. TrackerElla also saying hello to Night Stars and to Heart of Dixie. War Chief is saying hello to you, Le Mon Cherie. So is TrackerElla. And Le Mon Cherie is saying back to War Chief and Lorna. Night Stars is saying hello to Lorna. Elastic Machinery is saying hello to Le Mon Cherie, and she's saying hello back to you. TrackerElla, she says, was on your channel, Ella, but check Jerry's channel, and everyone was on there, so I am now. Both channels are playing at once. Yeah, we're trying to. It's the first time we're streaming 3. It's also on Facebook.
I'm trying to find it on Facebook, but I don't find it without actually clicking on it, and then it brings you back here. So I'm not sure how that works.
Just on my page?
Yeah, I went directly to your page.
Oh. Okay.
So if anybody's, we don't know. We'll figure it out. It doesn't matter. If you hear from Facebook, we're happy to see you too. We just don't know how to find you.
Nat Star says coffee and laughing. She said coffee, 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 coffee. And Scott Permaculture is saying hello to everyone. Just wanted to give this channel a thumbs up and a bit of love. All right.
Good.
Man, when you come down, you got to let us know.
He may be
man.
down. He might have snuck down
He might have
months ago.
snuck down. Scott is saying hello to Lorna. Heart of Dixie saying hello to Lorna. Lorna saying hello to Scott. And Scott is also saying hello to TrackerElla. All right. Oh. All right. So, Steve, I'm going to, this is just to help you. I don't know if you've clicked on the link, but I'm going to put this in the chat for you. So if you haven't clicked onto the other link, you can click onto that link in the chat, and that will get you here in the same room as us. So before Steve gets here, I just kind of give a little introduction, kind of how we met. We were on a film shoot for a Choctaw commercial, and he was sitting a little ways off, and we had our table, and we were just talking different things. And there was Pudge Rodriguez, Emmett Smith, Troy Aikman, and there was some other guy. I'm not sure who he was. A football player I don't know who he was. But while Troy Aikman and Emmett Smith, while we were having a small set change, that I believe it was you, Steve, who said something. We said something about Bigfoot or something, and you said, "Oh, they're real," and I said, "Well, yeah, they're real," and we just started talking after that, and he was telling me about a couple of things and some encounters that he had in this area where we're at. And I was like, we got a YouTube channel that if you want to come on and tell everybody about your experiences and things that happen, you're more than welcome to. And so we exchanged information. And we just hit it off after that. Once we really, when you got someone you can talk to about, Bigfoot and things like that. And everybody knows us, so that we're not going to scoff, and we want to know what you know or where this happened, because we know they're real too. And so let me message him on, maybe because
he came back to the table and said, I met a really nice guy. He's had some experiences with Bigfoot, and he may be on the show there. He says he's here.
Oh, here's the link again. If you can click onto this link with the Sasquatch Choctaw tracking, if you can click onto that link
and then follow the
prompts, it'll get you into this room. Okay.
And so he is definitely here tonight.
This
and
a
we're
coffee?
Excited to have a talk.
Yeah. Oh, it's hot coffee. Hot coffee.
Very
hot
hot.
coffee.
Take the lid off.
I'm gonna drink this.
I know I'm already sweating. We didn't want to have the fan going because this mic is so good.
Oh, so if you hear me slurping.
Oh no.
This is the Bigfoot Gifters link, and thank you, Not Stars, for putting that in. Here's the link right here. You can check that out and go to also on Amazon to find all this. Tracker Lorna is saying hello to Steve, and she's also saying welcome, Steve. And CT is saying delicioso.
Yes, it is. It's good coffee.
Sí.
Our coffee's always good.
Coffee is muy rico. Le Mancherie is also welcoming Steve, and Not Stars is putting in YouTube. I mean,
link.
Another link, and
I think she's putting it. Earlier, she said Bigfoot Gifters link to Bigfoot Gifters.
This link is for
Predator Bigfoot and the Spiritual Warriors Path. Thank you so much for doing that, Night Stars. Oh yeah, you're slurping big time.
Am I what?
We're gonna have to get him a straw.
No. Put my pinky up with the straw. I look like that Austin Powers guy. There we go.
He is. Cowboy Steve. There we go.
All right. So we are going to welcome our guests, and monitors, remember, watch the chat for us, because we usually don't check the comments until afterwards. And War Chief also says to get me a bib as well. Hey, only when I'm
he's
eating donuts. They go
And
everywhere.
nobody can eat glazed donuts without making a mess. At least
Sure
nobody
can.
in this house.
Yeah. So Steve has some stories. So again, monitors, please watch the chat. Make sure everyone stays focused. We want to give Steve the utmost respect and listen to what he has to share with us, because all information is important information. Also, when you know certain places like us in our area. I mean, if there's a place in your area and you would know about that place, you would have information about what's going on in that area, and that's very helpful and life-saving information that you can share with your family and friends to keep them safe.
Steve, we don't ask a ton of questions during the interview because we don't want to interrupt your train of thought. So in general, we just take notes, and then we ask the questions later, unless there's just a pause, but we won't interrupt you a whole lot. And so you can start back as far as you want to go back.
Can we get him on?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
We're gonna click you on, and I believe. Was you able to hear all of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we can start as far back as you want to go back, and you can even some things come to their memory as they talk, and so you may remember things along the way. Then we'll ask questions along the way, but not too many, and a lot of questions at the end most likely, and then our viewers will also ask questions.
Yeah. I got quite a few that they are short but sweet.
Yeah. Hey, kind of remember, start at the beginning. When did you first know something was there? That kind of thing, and then
I grew up in southeastern Oklahoma, around strange town of Daisy, and I've always run them backwards. Me and my old buddies. I was a teenager then, and
what was you doing? What was you doing on those back roads?
we're just running around like coyotes, like a pack of coyotes, just running around the woods and everything, and pooping and hollering, camping, fishing, stuff like that. And we never, we just slept out in the stars. I've always did that. I never thought anything about, anything like that till I got to, got reading my Bible, and it tell you about things like that. But I was probably, I don't know, 18, 19 years old when I seen my first. It was a starship. It was so far up in the air, it looked like a light bulb, but it followed me and 2, 3 of my buddies. I seen it at the top. I seen it first on the top of it, following us real slow. And mind you, this is probably 30 years ago, maybe 25, 30 years ago. And it followed us. That's the first time this ever happened to me. It followed us in there, way up there, real slow. And it stopped, and I asked my buddy, I said, "Hey, y'all check that out. What is that?" At first, I thought it was a star. But it was no star, because it followed us slow, and it stopped when we stopped. And then it zipped back behind us about 50, looked like about 50, 100 yards. It zipped straight behind us real quick, moved real slow, zipped back in front of us, then took straight up in there and disappeared. And, I didn't think nothing of it. We was teenagers, and so we kept on going. We kept running through the woods. That's the first time that I've had experience with something like that. And the whole time I grew up there around Daisy, Stringtown, I never witnessed nothing like that till I come here where I'm living at now. And then me and my son, both my sons had a experience. And I've been reading up on it and watching stuff on TV about it, and never really knew anything about it until I got to watching YouTube and everything. And and I see my first track. We used to walk 5 miles to a pond back up in Redden, Oklahoma, to fish. And we got all the way around this pond, and old buddy was telling me about there was some people that lived there, but they all disappeared. A woman, a man, and some kids. But they all disappeared. And had a bunch of cages and stuff down there, and they found hair and stuff in them cages. But the old place growed up. I was walking along through there fishing, and I seen a bare footprint. And I guarantee you, it was a bit of 12 inches, long. And a bare foot back up there where we was. My old brain wasn't calculating at the time, might have been somebody back in just took the shoes off to fish, But it wasn't until that guy told me the story what went on there. That guy disappeared. They never found him. And then, we kept hearing stuff back up in them woods. And tree breaks. I never knew what that was either until I moved here. On this river down here, we get a lot of excitement on this river down here in Marshall County where I'm at now. But I was after that little incident, nothing ever happened to me. Years rolled by. We moved here in Marshall County, and we decided to go hunting. 5-6 years ago up in Daisy up Jackport Mountain, and me and my buddy and my son, we all went out separate ways. This probably went out about an hour before daylight. It was super dark, And me and my son sat there by a little old pond and waited till a little bit daylight till we could kind of see where we're going. He went to his little spot. I went to my little spot. Just before daylight, I was sitting on the ground. He's about 80 yards from me in a tree stand. Them coyotes it's just serenading down off here. It sounded like 50 of them. Just howling, hooping, howling. And all of a sudden I heard a dominant, it was aggressive, loud growl, like real loud, and everything in the woods, you can hear a pin drop. It got so quiet. And I didn't really think nothing of it. I was thinking, man, that was a monster daggone wolf or something, shut everything up. So we went back. My son met me back up there, and we went back up towards camp, and there was some rocks. They was probably 8 feet tall, all the same size, probably 5 feet wide, 8 feet tall in a circle. And there was pine cones that was peeled. It was something with fingers. You can tell it was something with fingers that peeled all these pine cones apart because they was all in a neat pile in the middle of these rocks. It's probably 5 foot space in the middle of these rocks in a circle. And you can tell the seeds was gone. They dropped some seeds and stuff like that. But that night, we all went back to camp. That night, I was laying in the tent, everybody sleep. And I was laying in the tent, and I had a skillet with a spatula in it. That cast iron. I cooked everything in cast iron. And that sound it makes when you tap it together? The ting, ting. I kept hearing that sound. I heard that sound, and it had the same sequence. 3 tings. Ting, ting, ting. Couple of seconds. Ting, ting, ting. At first, I thought maybe it was a raccoon that got up in there because we cooked eggs in it before. So I didn't pay no never mind to it. Finally went to sleep about 2 hours after that, and woke up next morning. I couldn't wait till daylight to get up to see if that skillet was moved. Still in the same position it was. But I had a trail camera right behind my tent, probably 15, 20 yards behind the tent. And I knew I wasn't going to get nothing on that camera. But that tripped me out. So me and my buddies, that morning, we went back to the same spot. Another buddy of mine went to another area. And he got down there, and he said he sat down, and we was going to meet up about 9 o'clock in the morning, eat breakfast, and hunt another spot. And he sat there, and I was freaking messaged him on the phone, and he called me. And but he sounded like he was out of breath. I said, "What's up, buddy?" He said, "Man, you ain't gonna believe what happened." He said he got down there, sat down. He said he set his alarm, but he forgot to put it on vibrate. And he said it had that old siren sound, alarm system. He said that thing went off, and he went down, reached down there to turn it off real quick. He said about 100 yards, he heard some whoops, whoop, whoop. He said that was super loud, and he said it sounded like about 100 yards from him, there was another whoop. And it freaked him out, and he come on up out the woods, got in the truck, went back to camp. I never seen nothing else that weekend, and on that trip. But then me and my wife went back down there. Actually, we went down there about 3 weeks ago, and I was driving down that same road, and I was looking for pigs, but I seen a long red, long shaggy, reddish hair, something. I don't know. It's probably 100 yards up the woods from me, but it was all clear. But there's a little knoll there, and the road goes. That road went around from that knoll 100 yards. So I tried to speed up to see what it was, but it's like it ain't nowhere it got away from me. It's like it cloaked. It disappeared just like that. And I told my wife, I said, "Did you see?" She didn't see it, but it was something red, long, and it stood up when I come around that curve, peaked that hill. It stood up a little bit behind a tree, and I seen it like a long arm. And I tried to speed up to get a good look at it, but it disappeared that quick, and I ain't no way it got away from me without me seeing it, because it was in the open with a bunch of trees, And that was a couple of months ago, actually. And then my experiences I had by myself, well, actually my son was with me, was here where I'm living at now. We hunting around here Lake Texoma, and it was kind of misty rain that morning, beautiful morning. A morning you can thank God for, you know what I mean? And a little misty rain. We'd hunting hogs in the bottom, and I sat down there up against a tree. I had a 12 gauge shotgun. He had a 30-30. He was probably 100 yards down from me, and I kept getting this feeling, I've been watched. I sat there, I didn't pay no never mind, because my mind, I knew that if I, let my mind run away from me, you know what I mean? Or something, I sat there for a little bit longer, and something kept throwing pebbles at me, like little rocks. And I thought it was my son messing with me, trying to see what I do. But it wasn't him. Kept throwing pebbles at me, and something, my instinct told me, I might ought to get up and go see what my son's doing. And then I heard a deep, deep growl, like something with lungs the size of a suitcase. A deep, it wasn't loud, but, like an old bull sounds, but it was deeper and longer. I heard that growl, and then that's when I said, maybe I need to go see what my son's at. I turned around, took 3 steps, and he was already headed up towards the hill towards me. had his gun. He was sweating, and it was probably 60 degrees that morning. 55, 60 degrees. Perfect morning, misty rain, perfect for stalking. And then he come up there, and I didn't say nothing to him. And I said to him, he said, did you hear a growl? He was 100 yards from me. And I said, I did hear a growl. He said, I was wondering if you was going to say something about that. And he said, well, he heard a growl. At first he thought it was a big old hog, because there's some big old hogs down over there. He heard a growl, and then there's a tree down there. I guarantee you couldn't hardly put your arms around this tree. Big old pecan tree, old tree. And he said the tree shook with that growl. It like a deep growl, and the tree shook a little bit, and it was something told him he might ought to leave. So that's when he come up there where I was. And then when he got where I was, that's when he asked me if I heard a growl. I heard a growl too. But it's a feeder down there. Somebody got a feeder down there, and them pigs are in and out of there. And every time I've had experienced this, except the time in my pickup, we've been hunting pigs. You know, there's a bunch of pigs been around. I think them things they love eating pigs. You know, and but we took off, didn't run. I said, well, don't run. You know, I can't run anyway. But I said, don't run, whatever you do. And if we see anything, you know, don't point the gun at it. And we went back to the truck and left. That little episode was over. But then me and my son was on the river bottom down here. And going towards, what is that? The river going towards Durant, Oklahoma. And we was down there one evening. The other side of that river is all sloughly. I mean, a man couldn't walk off in it, and put it that way. And it's just that bad. Nobody ever been off in there, on the other side of the river. But I heard a tree break. I mean, it snapped. It sounded like an 8-inch tree just snapped. Bam! Sat there and listened for a bit. And at first I thought, my mind kept thinking, maybe it's a pig. Stepped on the tree off in there, a big old hog or something. But sat there and it got quiet for a minute. And I told him, let's get behind this cedar tree. And I had my, we was deer hunting, I had my hog hunting, I had my 308 and a nice scope on it, and I was going to just look down off in there, see if I can't see anything moving. I didn't see nothing moving, but we sat there quiet for a while, and then we heard tree knocks. Pow, pow, tree knocks. I mean, we sat there for a good 2 hours, and we heard, I guarantee you, 10, 15, 20 tree knocks. Three at a time. Pow, pow, pow. Wait for a bit, about a couple of minutes, and do it again. You know, and I think. Oh we left on that. We left on that hunt. My son, he didn't like that idea. So I didn't want to put him in danger because we was on the other side of the river. Then I had something hit my pickup one night. About 1:30 in the morning, I was down off pulled a buddy of mine out of the woods. Had a big old storm come through here a couple of years back through the wildlife management unit over here. And I pulled him out. I told him to go ahead and leave. He was in a car. In case he gets stuck, I can pull him out again. And I had an old Ford pickup with LED lights. They're real bright. You hit your brake light and you can see anything behind you. Tinted windows in it, but I had my driver's side window down a little bit. And I was just clicking along there about 15, 20 miles an hour. And it felt like, how somebody can jump on your bed of your truck and your pickup bounce a little bit? Mine did that. It did that 3 times. At first it did it. It rocked my truck a little bit. I was thinking maybe I hit a pothole. I just kept clicking along there and it did it again. And then I looked on my passenger side. I didn't see nothing. I put my brakes on. I didn't see nothing. It's like something was blocking my view of my mirror. I looked at my driver's side and I could see everything behind me through them big old bright LED tail lights. I didn't see nothing. And then the third time it shook my truck again a little bit. I mean, it didn't shake it real hard. It just let me know, something shook it. I got this feeling that, man, there's something walking beside my truck or something. And all of a sudden, my passenger side door, something hit my door 3 times so hard and quick, 3 times that it rattled everything in my door. I mean, it's like I got hit. My truck rocked. Bam, bam, bam. That quick, hard and fast. And it just freaked me out. I hung my foot in that radiator until I got to my deal. I had to slow down because I thought I was going to almost roll my truck. And I don't know what that was. I looked at the side of my pickup where what hit my pickup, where the crease in my truck is made, and there was 3 white marks in the side of my truck door. I don't know what that was all about, but it freaked me out. And that's the scariest right there I've ever been in my life. Now, I ain't scared of nothing but the good Lord above, our creator, But that freaked me out. There was something down there that didn't want me down there. And I was just standing out my truck. I was standing behind my truck, and because I got a Gatorade out my ice chest, stood back there because it was so nice and peaceful and quiet down there. 1:30 in the morning. I walked back there and got my truck, and when I got my truck, I didn't drive 10 feet when it first started rocking my pickup. That freaked me out right there. And I didn't go down there for like about a year. But my other experience I had was at a place down here called Greasy Bend. It's a big old river down there. I heard some stuff down there. Me and my buddy went down there one morning, about 5 o'clock in the morning. He went one way and I went the other, bow hunting. And I set off in this little draw, and I heard some pigs. I heard some pigs. There was a sow and a male pig. You know how they sound when they mating. That sow, the bull following the sow. Following it, I guarantee I listened to him for about 35, 40 minutes up in there, going up to there and hitting the river right behind me. The river was probably 50, 75 yards behind me. Them pigs headed right down towards that river. I could have swore I knew I heard some heavy footsteps, but I thought it was my buddy, and I messaged him. He never messaged me back, so I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't want to move because I didn't want to spook any game if there's any game around there or anything. I sat there for a little bit, and them pigs got down there by that river, and then I heard a hoop, whoop, whoop. Now I heard another one down the river from me. So I messaged my buddy. I said, "Hey, you hear that?" He said, "Man, I don't hear nothing." So I sat there, and it's probably 100 yards from across the river. It's about 75 from where I was sitting to the river. But on the other side of the river, probably 100 yards before you hit the thickets. I seen something move around in there and snap. I mean, you can hear it. You can hear it stepping. Bipedal steps, and I don't know what it was. I never moved. And then on the other side of the highway, I was sitting there. I never moved. And I was sitting there, and on the other side of the highway, it's probably, I don't know, 400 or 500 yards from where Blake Shelton's house is. I heard a long holler. It's kind of hard to explain. It's like it was long and loud. It was probably 2 or 3 minutes long. Might have been longer than that. And I know ain't no human can do that the way it was hollering. But it was way up from me. Yeah, to the day, I have no idea what that was. Still to the day, I have no idea. But I still go off in there, A buddy of mine got run up out of there by a creature. He said coon hunting by himself, and that thing hollered at him. And every time we go back off in there, we hear stuff like that. And I kind of quit going back. I don't go off in there by myself, I always got my son with me, But that happened to us. Happened to me. And a buddy of mine in that same area was hunting in the same area I was, and he was hunting pigs on that river bottom. And he seen there's a bunch of pigs there milling around in there. They finally come up in there that morning. He had a bunch of apples and stuff out. And he was messaging me that morning it happened. He said he seen them pigs were sitting there just eating. And he said he seen something in his peripheral vision. He looked, and something stepped behind a tree real quick. And he thought it was one of his buddies messing with him. But he said he brought his scope up on his rifle and looked, and he said it was a big old black object. Just peeked behind the tree, and he said when it stepped, the tree was probably 10 feet away from him. It took 2 steps, and it was at that tree. hiding. He said it was Sasquatch, the Yeti, whatever. And sneaking up on these pigs. Pigs never even know this thing was there. It got within 15 yards of these pigs sitting there rooting around eating. He said all of a sudden it was a female. All of a sudden this creature jumped out, slammed one of them hogs with his fist, and that sucker hit the ground. He said when it hit it, he heard the bones crack. And the pig and he picked it up, slammed it up against the tree, tucked it up underneath his arm, turned around, looked up in the tree stand at him, smiled, turned around and walked off like it didn't exist. You know. And them spots there, I still go to some of them spots all the time, but you know, I don't like going by myself. But I've always had feelings about something in the woods. Something in the woods like that. I always knew it was something, you know, until I didn't want to believe it until I had my experiences, you know, with them things. But
Is that all you've got?
Yeah, is that all?
Lord.
yeah, let's see here.
No, this place is called Greasy Den,
Greasy Bend.
where a lot of this stuff is happening.
Greasy bend.
Yeah.
Or Bend or Den.
Greasy Bend. Greasy Bend. Yeah, Bend. Greasy Bend is over here it's in Johnson County. You know, we had a lot of people that's got ran off from down here on the lake, down there where we fished at. I had another buddy that I didn't see it, but he did. He said it jumped in the water on him, floating in the water. He thought it was a log coming up to him. He had one leg and he always fished this area. This is the same area that little incident happened to me when I pulled them people out of the ditch and something hit my pickup. It happened in the same area right there. 3 times I had 2 people got ran up out the woods by a creature. One of them, this guy, he's in prison now, but he was back off there with his shotgun and a little opening and something rattled. This guy, he ain't afraid of nothing. But he said something rattled the bushes beside him and growled and hollered. And it scared him so bad he dropped his shotgun and ran. He never went back. And this other guy that was fishing, the same thing happened to him. He said he seen a log floating across the water up there, and he thought it was a log until it got up there to him. He said it went up underneath water and come back up. He said it had a head, looked like a head. He said that when it raised up, it had almost a face like it. He said he left after that. He jumped in. That's the same place that I had my experiences at. And like, you know, I've said to you before, down at Far Bottom when I was down there, you know, I know these things cloak because I got a spot down there that I hunt, and it's a bunch of cedar trees, but it ain't got no cedars or nothing on it. It's just dead trees, but they all still standing up in there. It's all clear. You can see all the way through them and on the bottom, but you can walk in between them, but it's the tree limbs. You know, you're going to rub the limbs and stuff that's hanging. But I remember sitting there a few times. Every time I hunt in there, I go in there and sit on the ground, talk to nature. And the tree limbs around me move like somebody walking between them. You can see them push out the way. You know, it don't bother me. It don't scare me or nothing. You know, because God sits beside me every morning down there, so I don't, you know, I don't worry about nothing like that. But I've had that happen to me a lot down there in this area. I mean, I got a lot of spots down here. You know, we need to get together and check them out sometime. Because I ain't going in there by myself no more. I still ain't going in there.
So you want to take us down there, huh? Wait a minute, all this stuff you're telling us, now you're saying, I want to take y'all down there. We're like,
yeah.
Maybe good, man. We believe you. You ain't got to convince us.
Yeah, I've seen a. Like I said, I seen that one. That I know that's what that was. I seen in Daisy because I ain't seen nothing else like that but a reddish Sasquatch, long arms. I seen that long arm behind that tree, and I tried to get up as fast as I could. Ain't no way it's 100 yards before it where it was standing. It was 100 yards before it crest over that hill, and I kept my eye on it on that road, and it just I think it cloaked. Them things cloak. They disappear on you. It just tripped me out. But every time I'm around something like that, it I don't get I don't get a feeling of fear. You know what I'm saying? It don't I don't have no feeling of fear because
Good.
yeah, but I got my sidekick on my hip too. But I ain't gonna know about that. But Demon Spot, I think that one down at the refuge that I had, that's the most I've ever been scared of my life because that was physical. It shook my truck 3 times, and I actually thought I was running into some potholes. I went back down there that next day just to see because I used to go down there. Actually, I used to make sure I got almost dead batteries in my flashlight so I could sneak through the woods, undetected. And I did that one morning down there. I walked about 2 miles back off in the woods by myself, bow hunting.
We do that too.
Yeah, and
Flashlight. Yeah.
yeah, it was probably an hour before daylight. I right outside the road. Only thing about that place down there, though, you got to watch for cottonmouths. They everywhere down there. That's the only thing I was afraid of. But I was sitting there, it's the time of the year where the leaves sound like cornflakes. You know what I'm saying? And I sat there against that tree, and I heard something coming off the top of that ridge, 300-400 yards away. I heard it 300-400 yards away because there's valleys in there, there's creeks. I mean, it's awesome vegetation in there for anything to survive. You know what I'm saying? I sit there in that tree, and I heard it coming off that ridge. It was breezing hard like how them old bulls breathe hard when they trying to get to a cow. I heard that all the way down to where I was at. It was within 50 yards of me. I heard it walking. You can tell the difference between bipedal and four-legged. Bipedal is two-legged. I sat there with that bow in my hand, and I had to release because I was shooting. I said, I'm going to take this release off my hand because it is dark. I couldn't see nothing. I wasn't about to turn my flashlight on. Get my position away because they know you're there anyway. They know you're there before you get out the truck. But I sat there and I heard it breathing hard and heavy. And like I said, I thought it was a big old bull, but ain't nobody got no bulls up in there. But I was convincing myself, yeah, it's a bull. But I sat there and it did that about 50 yards and it stopped. I heard it. In them leaves, it stopped and it sat there. It didn't move. I didn't hear nothing else. I heard heavy breathing, like real heavy. I mean, yeah, I can't do it. I couldn't do it with a bullhorn. It was that loud. And I sat there and said, oh my goodness. I looked at my little watch because I got one of these Indigos. I looked at my watch and it was like 45 minutes to daylight. And I was hoping that daylight would hurry up and get there because I wanted to see what it was. And when daylight got there, I never seen nothing. Never heard nothing leave. Nothing. And that puzzles me too. I don't understand. Like I said, I don't know. It might have took flight in the trees. I've seen footsteps down there, alligator footsteps, and I've seen human type footsteps back off in there. Big footsteps back off in there. It's a travel corridor for them things down there. On that, what's the name of that bridge? Oh, out there past Little City, at the bridge right there. But I ain't the only one that witnessed the things crossing right there. The creatures crossing right there. They cross right there all the time. I had let's say two experiences right there. that one I was telling you a while ago about hearing that big old tree limb break, and me and my son was sitting there. I told him exactly what that was. I said, ain't nobody can get over in that part of the river. Nobody goes over in there. You know, I mean, you can get on that side with a boat, but you can't get off the bank because it's just that thick off in there. But something was off in there with them tree knocks 2 or 3 times. And then my nephew had the same thing happen to him right there. A lot of people have the same thing happen to him right there fishing. One guy got ran off from down there one night. He said it stood up because it was on one of the little sandbanks on the other side of the river, kneeling down in the water. He thought it was a big old hog. He actually thought it was a bear, you know, which I ain't never heard no bear this close to, you know, Marshall County and thing. But he said it stood up. He shined a light on it, and in the eye shine, he said it was like 7 feet plus tall. And he left. He never went back down there. I mean, there's some good spots down there. We get together sometime, man, and boy, I can show you some things, but I don't know if I want to go off there tonight. No.
You still want us to go, huh?
Yeah, we'll go. It's some monster snakes off in there too, though.
You still want us to go?
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds like a trap. It sounds like.
No, because I can't. I I don't do no running. I can't run. About 20 yards. That's about it. That's what I told my son that day. That stuff happened to us. You know, he was throwing rocks at me. He was throwing little pebbles at me.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought it was my son messing with me, but it wasn't him. Because that same growler he heard come from the same creature down off there. It shook a tree, man, and you wouldn't believe this freaking tree. It shook. I mean, you can't put your arms around this tree, and it shook it. And my son, he is not scared of nothing. I can drop him off in one spot, and he'd be gone all day by himself. You know, his mama's worried about him like that, but that's why I give him a good sod on him. You know, just
He gets it from you.
Yeah, yeah.
But I also like when people. I also think, you know, when people say he ain't scared of nothing, but
yeah. Hey, but you know, that's the only time. That's the only time that I've seen him nervous. He was sweating, and like I said, I asked him. I wasn't gonna say nothing, you know, because whatever that was throwing rocks at me. I had that 12 gauge, and my mindset when I'm in nature, I'm always talking to nature, and that's what I love about getting out there early in the morning is hear my first bird wake and get up, wake up, chirp and say, "Good morning, Steve. Good morning, there, bluebird." You know, yeah, I talk to nature all the time, and then I had a feeling something was watching me. You know, I looked all around and I had that shotgun. You know, and them thing can smell gunpowder in a bullet. And I had a couple of slugs, I think. Yeah, I had slugs and some buckshot. And that's what got me at throwing them rocks at me, and it wasn't big rocks, it was small rocks, and about the size of a dime. You know, I turned when I turned around, something kept telling me, "You might have to check on your son." And that's when I turned around, took about 3 steps, and he's already up there. He was already coming up that hill. I asked him, I was thinking to ask him, and he said, "Did you hear that growl?" I said, "I heard the growl down there close to that feeder." And everywhere we hunt where hogs are at, that's where we have our experience at. Especially down here in this part of the country, man. Where I'm living at now is so thick with brush and different spots and creeks. I mean, it's perfect vegetation. I mean, a 40-foot giant can hide down here, and you've never seen some of these spots. And there's another spot down here. Every time you go there, we go down there. Like I said, we go down there an hour before daylight. It's a old cemetery back off in there. And but every time we probably 100 yards from that cemetery. We sit there sometime and wait and get to our spots, because sometimes it's hard to find our spots off in there that we hunt. We hunt different spots. And you always get somebody whistles at you. Every time you go down there close to that cemetery, it whistles at you. You know, and I've been wanting. One day, it talked to my son off in there. Him and a buddy of mine was off in there, and he messaged my son and said, "Where you at?" Because he was walking through this honeysuckle patch, the old fence line up in there. You know that used to be a what is that a prison camp? I think that's what it was around there. You got them old farms down there, concrete farms still on the ground. There's still a bunch of them down there, but it's all growed up with honeysuckle and everything. It's beautiful down off in there. But he said he come through there and he thought my son was back off in there because he heard something whistle. And he whistled back and he said, "Hey," called my son's name out. And he said he heard something whistle, like, "What?" That's the way it was whistle. That's the way it whistles. And then he messaged and said, "Where you at?" He messaged my son on his phone. He said, "I'm at the truck." He said, when he seen that message, boy, he got chill bumps on it. He said he picked up his stuff and headed on down the road. He said it freaked him out. He said he heard it up in them thickets, like coming towards him. And he thought it was my son. And stopped. And that's when he messaged, "Where you at?" Because he said he hollered and never answered. And he said, "I'm at the truck," and that freaked him out, and he packed his stuff and left.
He said, "I'm at the truck."
Yeah. Yeah. He was at the truck that
Steve,
morning.
do you know how they can mimic? They can mimic a lot of different noises.
Yes.
Okay. Have you had any experiences with that? Sounds that were kind of like this or that, but it wasn't quite right. And do you have any experiences with that?
Well,
besides
just
the whistle and the call.
Yeah, but every now and then I sound like I hear somebody holler my name, like, "Steve." You know, my mama always told me, "You ever hear somebody holler your name, don't answer back." But I never did. I never answer back. I just look around and, keep on going. Walk with dominance. You let them know I'm not afraid. But you come running at me, we're gonna have some problems.
Yeah.
But that's about the only thing I've really had happen to me, other than, I heard my name a few times and a lot of whistles and tree knocks and a lot of growls. You get a lot of growls and yeah, a lot of growls. Like that one I heard about.
They can also sound like machinery. They can sound like a chainsaw out in the middle of the woods. They can sound
gunshots,
like weather
and birds,
events.
and birds. I've seen two lights. I seen two lights hunting over there across timbers one night. One late one morning. No, it was dark. It was dark when we come out of the woods. Me and my buddy was going up in there hunting, and I seen two lights up in the woods. I said, "Hey, there ain't no houses or nothing up in there, is it?" And I forgot how many thousand acres Cross Timbers bought over there. It was a big old game ranch, what it was at one time. But I forgot how many acres it is over there. But it's a lot of old roads up in there. They used to have big hunts on there, big bucks and big cattle ranch on this place. And then I guess the state bought it and opened it up for the public to hunt. And we was walking on one of them roads up in there, and I seen them two lights. They was about the size of a golf ball, green, just hovering around like in a circle, like that together, and just stop and look. Never split apart. They stayed about 4 inches apart from each other. And I said, "Man, ain't no telling what that is. It's probably a UFO." I said, UFOs is, I mean, straight up, And he said, "Man, I seen that up in here last time I come out here by myself, and something told me, he had this feeling he needed to leave." And but after that, we didn't see nothing else. Didn't have no more. We heard hollering when we were walking back to the truck. We heard some screaming back off in there, but other than that, I had no other. Yeah,
What kind of screaming? Like the sound of a woman or sound of?
Well, uh, it was almost like I don't know. You ever heard of panther scream?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah.
And I've heard that. We had one creep up on us. It always happened after midnight. We'd be fishing and stuff like that, and we have seen big old yellow eyes in a tree. And a buddy of mine did big old yellow eyes. They're probably 4 or 5 inches apart from each other, way up in this big old tree. It's some big old trees down here, big old male horse apple trees, and it's the male. Yeah, it's the male tree that's bigger than a female horse apple tree,
Mhm.
and because that's the one that don't have horse apples on them, and big old acorn trees. And we shone that light up in that tree we was going off of there the fish. And he said, man, look at that raccoon. I said, man, that ain't no raccoon. If it is, he's on steroids. I mean, is that big? So we didn't think nothing of
Ain't
it.
no raccoon.
Yeah, ain't no raccoon. That's a monster. you know. But we
Literally.
went back off there fishing, and I had my rock wallet. He probably weighed 190 pounds. Knew it scared of nothing. That night, though, he proved him wrong. Because we sat there and we heard across the river there. Like I said, it's swampy. On this, it's called Horseshoe Lake. That's what it's called. And
Mm.
we were sitting there fishing about 2 hours, and I kept hearing something. Straight across the river from me, and then we heard that loud. I mean, because a panther will dig a hole in the ground. They'll dig a hole in the ground, and they'll stick their mouth in it, and it make them sound like they far away, which they're not. They could be 50, 60 yards from you. Because me and my son we walked up on them stalking deer, and I wear my moccasins when I'm stalking deer down at the far bottom, because it's quiet down there and there's some of that sand. I can feel everything with my feet, so I make myself super quiet and I can sneak up on them deer. And I was doing that, and my feet brushed across a tree limb, a tree. Yeah, a small tree limb that was on the ground. I did not see it was brown. It brushed across it. I mean, it made this is how good these animals can hear, because it just brushed across the top of them leaves, and them leaves went shh, just a little bit. Shh. And boy, we heard that real loud, and I told my son, I said, go around. I'll go straight, and we'll see if we can sneak up on it and see what it is. We never just see nothing. And the next day we went back down there, and my son, about dark, and usually when it gets about dark, since he had that episode down there before, he come up there to me now. He don't wait till about 45 minutes after dark. He come to the truck. He said, but right before it gets dark now.
Mhm.
But I was hollering for my son. Went up there hollering. I said, where you at? And he said, I'm up here. I said, where? I looked, had my light. And I said, I'm up here. He was way up top of the tree, like a ground squirrel. He was way up in that tree. I said, boy, what you doing up in the tree? He said, and his bow laying on the ground. I said, what you doing up in the tree? He said he was sitting there. He was sitting there and then quiet. And he said, all of a sudden, right behind him, said it sounded like it was 10 feet. I think it was a cat. Hollered at him. Scared him so bad, he squirreled up that tree. He was way up on one of them small limbs. So I come down and we got him down, and we went home. But other than that,
How old is your son?
he's 28, 29 now. No, he ain't. Yeah, he's 30, and my other son's 31.
Did he see the cat or did he just hear it?
No, he just heard it loud. It was pigs everywhere. Everywhere
these
is
things
pigs.
mimic.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Well, yeah, because it mimics and it can make that same sound, but it'll just sound bigger.
Yeah. And see, that's what I heard. I heard that thing growl. Let's see, what was that? Uh, what was I at? Oh yeah, I was down another place down here called Randolph Bottom. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of that place.
Mm-mm.
But everybody,
Randolph.
yeah, Randolph Bottom, and people always talk about Deer Man and stuff off in there, you know. And so me and my buddies went down there one night and built a little fire, and we sat in a circle. We was down there shooting 22s. All of us had automatic 22s, 18 shots in each one of us. It was like 6 or 7 of us sitting in a circle down there around a fire, talking and telling stories. And I kept hearing something behind. I kept hearing something to the left of me, walking. People again, walking. And man, Randolph is no place to be walking at night. You either get rattlesnake bit or you fall off in a daggum cave. Or there's places down there that the ground that come apart. I mean, that's weird there too. There's a hole in the ground down there. It looked like a maybe a cave system running through there. You can see down in the bottom of it, about 15, 20 feet, you can see where animals had fell, you know, and died because there's bones all in it. And you sat down, I kept hearing it bipedal steps. I didn't say nothing. I was just waiting to see if any of my friends would hear it. You know, I just kept just kept looking to my left and listening, and everybody got quiet. And somebody else started talking, and then everybody started talking again. And then a buddy of mine, everybody got quiet, and a buddy of mine said, "Did you hear that?" I said, "You know, I thought I was hearing things. I was wondering if anybody else heard that, but it was somebody walking in them woods." Like I say, you can't walk in them woods without a flashlight, you know. But somebody was walking in this big, like I said again, them big old pecan trees down there, huge. You know, it walked behind that pecan tree. I know it did. You know, you couldn't see it, but I know the woods so well. I know exactly what the sound was and what them trees is. You know what I'm saying? It's like a white-tailed deer knows everything in the woods. You know, and I sat there and he said, I said, yeah, I heard that. I was wondering if anybody else heard that. So we sat there and we got quiet and listened, and it started walking again. And we hollered at it and said, hey, if anybody out there, y'all better come up here and quit trying to scare somebody because we all armed. You know, we'll pull the trigger. And old buddy of mine, everybody started walking again, like towards us. And boy, everybody just opened fire with them 22. Pow, 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 pow. I mean, I sat there, I didn't pull a trigger. I said, nope. You know, they're gonna be out of ammo. And if it's a beast, that 22 ain't gonna do nothing but piss it off. You know, I'm gonna keep my ammo. You know, after everybody shot, it got quiet for a second and started walking again. And we all left. You know, we hear a lot of that down here. Like I said, the only time I actually seen something like that is when I was back home up around Daisy. About 2 months ago, I say. 2 months ago. Is when I seen it. This is about 11:30, 12 o'clock, you know, during the daytime. And I seen that long, red, shaggy, it's a long arm. And I kept thinking, is that a pig? You know, I was going to actually get out and try to run, you know, but no, I ain't doing all that. You know. And it just disappeared. I think I told my wife, I said, I guarantee you that was a juvenile Squatch, because I guarantee you it cloaked and disappeared. There ain't no way that thing could have got away from our eyesight from where the road kind of bend, and where it bend, you can see everything from that tree line from where it was at. And it was probably, like I say, 7,500 yards maybe from me. And it's probably another 100 yards from where, if anything would took off running a hog, I could have seen it running over top of that hill. But nothing ever did. Nothing ever did. And, you know, I had a camera back off in there for like 4 or 5 months. And I kept getting, I got a few wildlife pictures, you know, but I kept getting whiteouts in front of my camera. I kept getting whiteouts in it. And then my camera shut off at one time. And then I guess it come back on. But I didn't never get no pictures of nothing. But now I use satellites, cameras, But that's about the only thing I've had happen to me over the years. And actually, all the time, they're back where I come from. You hear a lot about it around Daisy, Oklahoma, southeastern Oklahoma. And I've had a couple of experiences that while we was camping, and I was telling you earlier about that tinging, that noise in the woods, that ting 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 ting, like you hit that spatula against a cast iron skillet. That's what it sounded like, and it's all in sequence. It wasn't no ting ting ting. It was ting ting ting. You could have counted 1, 2, 3, 4, ting ting ting. 1, 2, 3, 4, ting ting ting. It did that for about 20 minutes, and then it stopped. And I laid there, and I was in that tent. I laid there waiting for a big old head to poke over the top of that tent. But yeah, and it did it again. Ting, ting, ting. And never thought nothing of it. And that's when, that was that same morning when we got up. That's the same morning that I heard all them calls. And what I heard, what shut them calls, it actually sounded like a wolf. They supposed to let wolves go years ago on Muddy Boggy back home. They said they did it for neutral, but I've seen wolves here. I've seen a big old down here, the refuge here, Tishomingo Wildlife Management. I was down there one morning about 9 o'clock, driving down the road, and I looked and seen a big, black, beautiful, blue eyes, solid blue eyes wolf. There was no German Shepherd. There was no other dog in the world I've seen like this. That's on YouTube. Big old beautiful. And you know what? I pulled up there, and that thing was 15 yards from me on the other side of the fence. My buddy owns some private land down there. They call it Duck Lodge. It was about 15 foot from me from that road. I stopped. I said, "Boy, ain't you beautiful? You're beautiful." At first, I thought it was a German. There was no German Shepherd. It was solid black with big blue eyes. It just stopped, and it was just stared at me. And then my mind, something kept telling me to get out, because I was wanting to get it. I was wanting to. I don't know why I was wanting to grab this thing for some reason. That was the stupid part of talking to me, I guess. But I wanted to get out and try to catch it because it was so beautiful, And but it just sat there and looked at me, not moved, big or beautiful blue eyes, and it like it was talking to me, telepathically. And then I come to my senses. I said, "What the heck am I trying to do?" I said, "You know what I mean?" And then I drove off. I just drove off, and I never seen nothing else down there again like that. And then a month later, when that happened to me, when that whatever that was hit the side of my pickup, that's the scariest I've ever been in my life. I almost rolled my truck trying to get back to Marshall County that day.
Those three white marks on your pickup, were they waxy or were they
like ivory? You know how ivory look when you hit something? Yeah. A buddy of mine said, "It might have been a big old hog." I said, "No, man, there ain't no hog. No, come on now. Sitting on the couch too long." I said, that was I don't know what it was. There was three white. I got that picture somewhere. I took a picture of it. I was driving a blue Ford pickup, and they put 3 marks in that crease of that truck, and it takes quite a bit of force to put a mark in that crease of that pickup like that.
Yeah.
And that freaked me out, though. And I had to go back down there again after dark.
I want to read you. And Steve, you're going to absolutely love this book, seriously, because it's like textbook, all the things that you're talking about.
Yeah.
West Side Killers is one of the chapters in here.
Yeah.
It says, the West Side Killers get their name from their angle of attack. Our eyes have different duties and have to be trained separately as well as together. The right eye is for catching glimpses, shadows, blurs, and quick movement. The left eye is for focusing on an object and uses the memory to outline objects until they are recognizable. The left eye's peripheral vision does not see as far back and to the side as the right eye, making the left side or left eye the most vulnerable for attack. The left side is also called the west side or death side or blind side. This is where the term to be blindsided comes from. And there's more to that chapter, but when you were talking about them creeping up on your left, you'll notice how more often it happens on the left.
Yeah.
When they're approaching you. And we also want to show you some photos of the we call them translucents, when you're saying cloaking, and we call it, in the book, we call it translucents.
Yeah.
And we've got some pretty good photos.
So, you know, like we were saying when we were talking the other day, that, you know, they could be right next to you. And
exactly.
Yeah. And here's one photo.
That's exactly what I seen down at far bottom. You know, I was telling you about the tree limbs moving, like somebody walking through them. Yeah. There's no wind at all in there when I'm hunting. None. And them tree limbs, you know, I talk to the trees. I mean, I'll just do that. Trees got feelings, and you know, their lives is like it's like the earth, you know, in the birds and stuff. But I sit there and it's the same thing right there. That right there, I've seen that same thing off in there walking through them trees, but it never bothered me though, because I always have, you know, good vibes and good thoughts when I see things like that, you know.
And also a 44 on your side.
Yeah, I'll put my finger on the tree.
And you have God with you. But you need to know that these are all predators. There's none that is not a predator. It may not be the right moment. It may not be the right opportunity. But you're wise to not want to go out there alone. And also, you were talking about saving the ammunition. You've done a lot of really intelligent things. If you have to, remember the story of David and Goliath.
Yes.
I go through the eye, and here's the spot. You know, in here through the eye towards the center. Maybe under the left arm, but they can get much bigger than what you think. Could we show War Chief's drawing? War Chief he's our War Chief. This is a rendition of the one that he saw. He actually hooked it with a fishing hook. He didn't know it. He cast back. He was by a little dam in a river there by Broken Bow, and it hooked on something. He thought it was a tree limb. He turned around, and at 6 foot tall, he was below this thing's belly button.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's like what my mother seen in Arizona. She said she seen one just like that standing over. It freaked her out.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
And the eyes as big as a Coke bottle, he said. But they're all predators. You'll see in the book. Can we go back to that picture real quick one more time, please? They have spider DNA. We call it spider squatch DNA. That was the original predator that came here and has bound together all these different DNAs. This is why you hear bear man, pig, wolf man, dog man, just every otter man, beaver man, anything, you know, it's a critter plus a man, mothman, you know, it's because those are there's one that looked like an alligator in the face because it had eaten more alligators. So in its lineage, it's gotten that right DNA. And there's two in this one, and they look completely different. So they're all predators. They're all different sizes. Yeah,
I've heard them. I heard them things holler down here early in the full moon night down there at the refuge near my son. That was a wolf. I told my son, I said, I guarantee you that sounds like dogman, because there ain't nothing around here that much volume in his voice. You know what I mean?
What people don't understand is that they're all related. Everybody's trying to put it in this box and that box, but they're all related. They're all predators. They've got different features, different sizes, different attributes. That one is in Louisiana, and they're never alone. There's always more than one around. If you see one, you're guaranteed.
Is that a rock right there? Is that a big rock right there?
It's in front of the rock. It's kind of
between those.
Yeah. Now see that
The faces.
that rock right there is like what I was talking about up Daisy, where they set as a spot up there. It's like it's a circle. Like
Uh-huh.
they go in there and sit on them rocks and peel them pine cones. Every one of
Yeah.
them was peeled. You can tell they was peeled by fingers, and the
Yeah.
seeds were gone out of them.
And
a little
in
pond
this
was
photo,
inside of them.
the faces between the two trees is hunched down in front of that rock.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
That was in our property, towards the back of the property. This head was about 2 feet long, 2 feet
The
tall.
size of a man's back.
That looked like he's
It's
mimicking.
actually, yeah, it's a still shot from a profile still shot from a video that we took, and it actually looks like a illustration in the Monster Spotters book of one we call the Whistler, and we had made that illustration before we ever even saw this video, but because we had seen others similar and agree,
Yeah,
don't whistle in the woods. And you said your mom told you about.
yeah, yeah. Because they call your name. I've heard my name called many times in the woods, and I
Yeah.
never answered back. I just hold my gun closer.
Good,
But,
good.
yeah, I've had that. Look at that.
Now this one had a hoodie draped over its, just the hood part was on it, right? On its head. This was
Yeah.
a smaller one, and it was on the front porch. This is a still shot. We've got probably 20, maybe 20 from a doorbell ring cam, and this is maybe 3-4 miles from here. What you can't see in this one is there is a little bitty terrier type dog, a little white and brown dog that was just terrified beside it. And it's hard to tell what this thing is holding, but in the video, it looked a lot like maybe fish, like the fish bones.
Yeah.
That maybe it had used those to get closer to that little dog, but that dog didn't want anything to do with it. It looked terrified laying there. It was really sad. But so, and there's actually one further to the left, partially cloaked, up higher. Can you see that? The
Yeah.
little face
Yeah.
similar to the Whistler.
Yeah,
There's
I
another
sure
one.
do.
And that other one is looking in the window through the strings of mini blinds of, right there.
Right here's like the
Yeah.
nose, and there's
Yeah.
the eye.
Okay.
They had a gap in their mini blinds, and people, they think the mini blinds are good enough, but we suggest full curtains over the mini blinds at night. Never leave the
And you
windows
also
open.
see that pillar behind it, and so that's the front porch. That pillar's holding up that front porch roof kind of thing.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and the door is right in front of this thing. That's from a doorbell cam, or a ring cam.
But they'll put on blankets. The little ones will put on blankets or clothes that they steal or get from victims or whatever, and they use them to get closer to people. They can be every bit as dangerous as the larger ones.
Oh,
Really
yeah.
more, because people are going to say, "What is that?" and try to get closer, or maybe even think that it's, if their head's down, they might think that that's really a teenager or something.
Mhm.
Here's another one.
Yeah.
And this is a giant. Those are actually trees, but if you do the outline of the darker ones,
Yeah.
and then it goes up, it's kind of hunched over. We had a small drawing.
Somewhere we got a drawing, but I'll do a super quick. Something like this.
Hold on, let me take this off.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something along the lines of this.
Okay.
see
Yeah. Yeah.
Hunched over
Yeah.
there in the woods.
Yeah. I
That
see
was
that.
in Georgia.
And this is hit the face blown up a little bit better.
And they can get so much taller. They can get
Oh,
to, 25,
yeah.
30
Now,
feet.
now let me ask you,
All related.
what's your intake on that black wolf I seen? He was huge. with
Well,
blue eyes. I've never seen no animal. I've been around animals my whole life. I've had
there
animals like that. But I've never seen a solid black one with solid blue eyes like that. It's kind of, I can read his thoughts. It's like he was reading my thoughts, wanting me to get out of my
We call
truck.
that mind speak.
there's
Yeah,
these things take on all shapes and forms. We've seen some that look like cougars until you see the
yeah,
side of the face and the snout look just like a cougar, but you can tell there's just it's just a little bit off. But they look like cougars. They look like, deer
yeah.
woman, deer man.
Now, see, I've
Uh,
walked up on some spots that they had like on Greasy Bend on that river down there. I walked up on some spots that had like a deer skull, some fe- uh, fever bones, leg bones, uh,
mhm,
stuck up in the trees,
Yeah.
and trees bent over. There's a lot of
mhm.
trees that they bent over like a bow.
Like this
Yes,
behind
just
us.
like that. And then skulls stacked up around it.
Yeah.
And rocks. I found some spots where rocks had been stacked on each other like a little pyramid.
Yeah.
But other than that,
Um,
you get mostly screams and hollers down here. Like I heard that one that night, that morning. I can tell you, it was 3, 4, 5 minutes long. They had a set of lungs on it, whatever it was, and it was like, oh yeah, yeah. It was like that. And me and my buddy was standing there. I said, man, listen. I said, we talked a good minute or two, and it was still doing that. I said, listen to that, Will. Check that. I said, what is that? Ain't no human can do that long. I mean, it
There,
might be 1 or 2 in the world, but it was way off. I mean, it's like we're sitting here talking. That's how plain we heard it. But it was way on the side of the road. It was a good ways away, up towards Blake Shelton's place.
here is I want to play this. It's probably only a couple seconds, but this is a recording from War Chief. It's like a little bayou, a little close area by his house, and he
Yeah.
only had enough time to catch this one little part of it. But I'm gonna play it real
populated
fast.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's what I heard.
Yeah.
And
That's
we've
what I
played
heard.
that for other people, and they've said the same thing. And some of them even kind of it doesn't sound exactly like that, but the same kind of
Yeah.
barrel. Yeah.
And can
Now
go
see,
on much longer.
I I, I was up there around Clayton, Oklahoma, 'cause we go up there and hunt a lot. And there's a big old lake up there. You can see it from the main road. Pond. There's 3 ponds, and I guarantee you they're 2, 3 miles from. They're probably farther than that from standing on that road. You can see it plain as day though. And but we bow hunt that a lot. And then I walked at road one day. I forgot about that too. I walked that road one day. This was 10 years ago, and I walked the old road back off in there, old logging road, and it went to some. The woods just totally different in southeastern Oklahoma than it is here. But the trees are straight up, big old pine trees, and but I come to a spot, and it's like I don't know. It's like an old homestead, like it has rocks, but stuff then growed up over this moss and grass. Then growed up over these rocks. They probably 3, 4 feet off the ground, probably 500, 600 pounds. But I was standing there looking around. I was wanting to hunt them woods because they look like big buck territory, and I've heard some monster bucks fighting in there. But I was wanting to go off in there, but then again, something kept telling me, "No, this is as far as you need to go. Don't go no farther." But I was standing at probably 100 yards, if that far, that it looked like it was a house because you couldn't really tell. I mean, unless you know what you're looking at. It had like window frames in it, but everything was covered in vines and trees. It was all covered up. but it looked like a house, no home. Now, I kept thinking, well, that's old homestead. I might find some more antiques up there, something. But I sure wasn't about to go off in that house. That wasn't happening. I was by myself, but my old brain kept thinking maybe I ought to go up there and prowl around. Then again, I kept thinking how far I was from the truck. So I turned around and went back up, come back up out of there, and that's when I heard them two fighting. And I just left on up out of there. That's in back home. That's in a place called Redden, Oklahoma, up by Frugates. It's a place called Frugates Lake, and that's my old stumping ground. And we camped in them woods and just laid on the ground. We never took tents. We just took food and our 4-wheelers, went back off in there and slept on the ground. You couldn't pay me to do that now, but but never had no fear, nothing. And like I said, and that's where most of the exciting and stuff happens to a lot of hunters and stuff. I had a lot of buddies they quit hunting because a few buddies quit hunting because stuff happened to them like that. And like I said, I heard a wolf twice, monster wolf, and that one was that full moon night, wind blowing. It was a spooky night, a morning, and black powder season, and that's when I hear most of the stuff. Cause them things, I think they hunt pigs more than anything. Because my nephew got a picture of one actually. I'll get the picture from it, and it was in Caney, Oklahoma, in a big old field. It tried to sneak up on him. He said it was like 500 yards. He thought it was a cow, but he said look up and it covered ground so quick. It covered 100 yards in a second. He said it got closer and closer, and he left. And the same thing out here the oil bottoms. They call it this little place out here about 5-6 miles from here, where I live here in Kingston. I smelt them. I smelt something of it. They must have got a wet dog, freaking like bloody wet dog smell. And my nephew heard it up and ran him out of the woods. Huh?
Hey, let me play this quick video. It's about 1 minute and 37 seconds, but also it's going to show a Bigfoot, but also listen to what the words say too, because you just described exactly what's in this video.
Okay.
Here we go.
The stench of a wet dog, rotting flesh, blood, mixed with the stink of a tarantula, or rotting snakes, or no scent. The Bigfoot being observed here is herding deer to us. Through observation of humans, the Bigfoot can separate hikers from hunters, weapons or no weapons, a hunter or a hunter of Bigfoots. Trackers observe baseline to tree line first. We use the shadows. We go tree to tree or bush to bush, blending into our environment. The shadows are very important to read. It is called shadow language. Distinguishing shadow upon shadow. If your visual or sense of smell do not pick up the predators, your body is made of feelings and sensors to protect you spiritually and physically. Your feelings and senses will tell you where the predator is located. If the predator is behind you, you will feel the hair on the back of the neck. If the predator is on the right or left, goose pimples, shivers, or wind will be on that same side. To locate the predator, turn towards the place of the first feeling. This is the first alert for warriors that war is here.
Being the lead tracker for the
Almost word for word what you said.
Yeah, I mean that smell is that blood smell is something. That's a smell like no other.
yeah.
I smell it strong in some places down here where I hunt. And I have been going by myself a lot, but like I say, I pack some firepower too, though. My wife don't like it when I go by myself, but I got a 44 and a 450 Bushmaster. So yeah. But I've had them. That's the first time I ever had that happen to me on that deal though with them. I had that smell down there on me. That I smelled that smell in 3 or 4 different places. I've heard them tree breaks down here. I've heard more down here since I lived there than I ever have back home in southeastern Oklahoma. Other than that
Mm.
spaceship I seen that alien or whatever that is. Demons, if you ask me. That's straight demons. That blackness is totally darkness and blackness. It's trickery. You know,
Mhm.
it's what they put on your mind. They try to get in your mind, but if you got a good straight mind, you can overcome that. You know, I do. You know, because I always talk. I walk with God every day when I'm in the woods, right beside me. You know, uh,
That's exactly right. And I had just written, my impression of that one particular wolf just keeps coming to my mind is demonic or witchcraft influence for that one particular one that was
yes,
perfection, because these are ugly. The predator
yeah,
Bigfoots, they're not proportionate. They're not beautiful. They're that may be to me that one's
trickery.
witchcrafting with the
Yeah,
yeah, and
trickery.
I
Yeah.
put illusion
Yeah,
and yeah, glamoury, exactly. And we've got a section in the book too. I can't wait till you read the book, because we also talk about the
yeah,
mind speak and how to stop it, and
yes. Yes, I do, and I've been teaching my son how to do that too. Because
good.
the woods are 100% different now than they was 10, 15 years ago. 10, 15 years ago, like I said, we used to run across them woods, no lights, nothing. And you know, that was the first time I seen that spaceship. And then I seen another one on the highway. It was humongous. It was the size of a house, but it looked like I don't know if you ever watched that Superman 2 movie when they had that spaceship kind of looked like a pear. It's shaped like a pear. One end is it was metallic, and it was just hovering off the highway there, 2 miles from J&I, up above, right in the clouds. If you would know what to look for, you wouldn't hardly see it. And when I turned my head and told my wife, say, "Hey, look at this over here. Look, it was gone." I said, I was driving down the road and I watched it for a good 2, 3 solid minutes. I kept look at the highway and look at it and look at it. And I turned my head and told my wife, "Hey, look right up there." It was gone that quick. And that's the only two I've seen like that. And you know, it's a place back home in Daisy. I didn't mention. I was going to mention a while ago. It's a it's a it's a. I ain't gonna call it a rock, but it's rock. It's the size of a, I don't know, the size of a building, probably size of Walmart up there where we hunt. But in the middle of it, it's got a door cut out in it. I don't know if it's man-made cut, but it's an arch like a horseshoe. It's made like a the doorway is made like a horseshoe. When my buddies was up there when we was up there hunting, he told me, he said, "Man, you'd never guess what I found up there." I said, "A giant rock with an archway cut in it." He said, "Yes, you know, you can get on that rock." And I ain't been. We used to live on this place. It used to be JB Hunt's. And when I was growing up, Strange Time, it was nothing but a big JB Hunt cattle ranch, and that's what we did. And now it's 17,000 acres that the uh, state of Oklahoma bought for public hunting. And but he said he's seen now. I said, yeah. He said that thing is you when we was kids, we used to get on it when we was younger. You can get on top of this rock because there's a spot in the back. You can walk up on it. You can get up on top of this rock and you can feel like vibrations underneath it. And that always tripped me out. It really, you know, when you're young, your mind is somewhere else. You think about stuff like that, but then it leaves. You know, you ain't serious about it. You know, but you know, I look back on that and wonder what that vibration was, a humming kind of vibration sound. And
It sounds
it's still
more
like,
like tunneling and
yeah, Yeah, like
No telling what kind of city
uh,
bunker situation is under there, and tunnels and underground
mm-hmm.
trains and things like that.
Yeah, because see, that was like he had a dog down there that, that disappeared down there coon hunting, and that dog disappeared. Something grabbed that dog, and we heard it yip. We heard it yip. It was a long way from us. It was yip, and that was it. Never seen that dog again. And it was in that same facility right there.
Where do you live, in a town or in the woods, or what about at
No,
your
I
home?
live.
Is anything going on around there?
No, just a bunch of just a bunch of people. I live right here in Kingston, right in town. I was
Okay.
living out there close to. I was living out there close to the refuge, but and then we moved up in town. But
Okay.
that place out there is totally different. You know, you hear some weird stuff down there. You know, I've had a couple of people, friends, get run off from down there because they said they seen Bigfoot. And I said, well, I believe you have because you know I've witnessed it down there a couple of times. You know, I don't know what that was hit my truck, and that was that walked up on me down there. But and my brother didn't believe in him too until he went out and he had his experience the same place.
Yeah.
They don't go out there no more. But
Hey,
yeah,
let's get some see if there's any questions for you. If not, then I want to kind of go over what we talked about a little bit. Ask you a couple of questions.
While Jerry asked the questions, chat, now is the time to put your questions, if you have any, in the chat or comments. And
This is for the people in the chat. If you have any questions for Steve or want to ask him, or maybe even give some advice or something, you can put that in chat now, and we'll get to that in just a moment. We'll start off with Night Stars. It's saying hello to you.
howdy.
Let's see. Bernice is here. She's listening. She's watching. Melissa Cat is here.
Melissa says, hello, Jerry and LeadTrackerE. Better late than never. I'm watching the replay right now. Thank you for having this guest on. He's very interesting. Good show tonight. Thank you, Melissa.
And everybody's saying hello to, or Warchief saying hello to Melissa Cat. And how you say it? Sorochin?
Satarochin says hi to, that's Girardi Garcia from the community of familia from Jose Antonio.
Oh, okay.
Hola. Hola, Girardi.
Hola, bendiciones.
Gerardi.
Fern is here.
Fern's here.
Fern is also another tracker. She's in the room. She came in. Everybody saying hello to Fern. And Bernard is here.
Good to see you, Bernard. He says, Cowboy Steve, I also seen a huge UFO in South Texas. Could land
777
inside of it.
Yep.
And he says, greetings, trackers and guest Cowboy Steve.
JR is here.
He's another tracker. He says, thank you, Cowboy Steve. Great to listen to you. Agreed. And Bernard saying hi to Fern, and Tracker Lorne is saying, thank you for sharing, Steve.
Yeah, all this information. And, whenever we was talking the other day at work, you was only, and I knew you had a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
So just from the get-go, he's like, and then this happened, and then this happened.
Yeah.
That's like, I like, well, we got to get you on. And
he said he's got a couple stories, and I've got 6 pages of your
notes.
Stories. It's probably things you've forgotten.
Yeah, and so a couple of things, like whenever you seen that barefoot print, was it only one?
Yeah, it was one. What that pond was, you know, was old, where the old mud is kind of soft at where the water had
Yeah.
been, and a couple of days it goes dry, and
Hmm.
it was probably 2 inches deep in the ground. And
Hmm.
I looked at my old buddy's foot; he had a 12-inch boot, and I looked at his foot, and it made his foot look like it was 7 inches. I said, "Man, look
Oh,
at this
wow.
bare foot." Yeah, because you know, when uh when we seen that and I showed it to him, he said, "Yeah." That's when he told me that story about that man and that woman and 3 kids. They said that they had the kids locked up in chicken pens, and then they said they had that dude had that woman. I guess he killed his family up in them woods. I said, "Well, really? We 5 miles back up in these woods, and y'all just not telling me this? Look, we ain't got nothing but rod and reels." You know? And they said, "Yeah, he disappeared." The FBI and everybody looked for him, but never found him. You know, but that was back up in Redden. There's some woods up in there. You know, and
So they don't actually. I wonder if they know for sure that he killed them, or if they
yeah,
just think that's what
yeah, 'cause
happened, but something else killed them.
I
Maybe.
don't know, but they found blonde hair in some of them chicken pens. You know,
Mhm.
up in there, yeah, up in Daisy, where I used to, we had 500 acres leased up at Jack Fort Mountain, and we was back up in there with no man's land,
Yeah.
but it's cages. There were some cages. Somebody lived there decades ago. Oh man, they said he had. We didn't know what kind of animals he had, but he said there was big old cages like jail cells, the old jail cells back in the old Western days. That
Yeah.
was made out of them bars. He had a
Yeah.
bunch of them around his house out in the woods that was 12, 15 feet tall, 8 to 10 feet wide and big. They said they don't have no idea what this man had in there. But all the animals and he disappeared.
Yeah.
And I'd like to investigate it. I'd have to go out there and check it out again. Is that hole in the ground out there at Randolph Bottom? There's
The golf.
like a cave system. A hole formed up on the top, and
Yeah.
you can, if you're not careful, you may fall in it. I said, "Well, man, you need to stay away from it. Somebody needs to be, because Burlington Northern Railroad tracks goes right through there, and you find
Mhm.
bones and stuff all up and down that railroad track. But there's also bones and stuff in that cave or whatever it is. It's a cave, but the top of it had fell in, and nobody knows that. And it needs to be notified by authority or somebody, so that in case a hunter goes through there at night or something and fall in it, you never find it.
We see
Mhm.
those alongside the riverbanks too. We'll send you the link when this is done to the documentary that we made. And
Yeah,
there's a cave like that along. We call those embankment lines, but there's a cave there. And when we went back to it later, it went much deeper
Mhm.
than when we first filmed it. And from the top, you could see that uh, things had fallen through and were pulling through.
yeah,
And have you noticed too around so if you're on a creek or a ravine, if you're around the curves, there's going to be a blind or a little cave, but you can
oh
see them on the opposite side, but they're going to be wherever there's a blind spot.
Know where you would normal traffic would go. It's going to be on the other side, coming at the other.
yeah, other direction. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like it's
and see,
going out this way. Yeah.
I found a spot on a creek down here. It's got it looked like it was in the Roman days because I looked off in this hole and it done silted in, and I found an old piece of metal that was halfway out of it, and it looked like something was made in the Roman days because it had writing and scratches in the rocks up in there. It ain't but two or three of us know what that is. It knows that's it's even there, And I found that, and I said, man, I've seen that in books when I used to go to school in Stringtown. Uh, I've seen some of them writings in some of them books that we read, back then.
Mhm.
And I fished that place a many a days, and one day I decided to sit on that rock, and I noticed it was hollow. And I looked, it's a kind of a cave right offside the creek, like you was just talking about. But it had
Yeah.
writing and stuff on the rocks going inside of it. But you can't crawl in it because it done silted in. It looked like it was deep at one time, but there ain't no telling what's in there.
Right.
It's like my trail cameras. Them things. Them things ain't stupid. They know the trail can do. We can't get them on film. Well, most of them down there, they feel it just like a white-tailed deer. They know there's stuff inside the cameras. They sense that. They sense all that electronic stuff inside them cameras.
Smell it, hear it. Yeah.
Well, we just I was gonna say we just showed you a film where we caught some on or caught one on.
Yeah. The best
But
scent you can use is smoke. Smoke
we
is
had
the best scent.
we had to sit out in the woods and let the birds calm back down because they alert on us. So we sat in the woods probably about 2.5 hours, and that's when we caught that one moving. But it sat there still for about 2.5 hours before it started moving like that. Then we started filming. So they're very patient. A lot of people go out there, and when they're translucent or in that shadow state, they'll walk right past them. These things won't even move. They'll just wait till they go past them and some circle.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that thing you showed me a while ago in translucent. I've seen that in that one area. I can take you out there, and we can go out there and sit. And it ain't. I guarantee it ain't. 75. It ain't 75 yards from the road where we park at. I can take you out there. We can sit in that area, and you can see it. You can see them. I didn't know what was going on at first. It's like little heat waves, like you were showing me.
Exactly.
But you see the limbs. Yeah, you see the limbs moving. Because when I walked under the limb, you don't move limbs. We physical. But these things, like you said, elusive. You can see it walk through them tree limbs and move, and I watch it, and some of them come right by me. Not 5 feet, and right by me. I hand them across, and one on my trigger, and it just walked on by and go on through and hit the woods. You can see it moving through different branches. See different branches moving, and not 1 ounce of wind blowing in there. So it ain't no wind blowing, especially some of them limbs, because the wind got to blow pretty hard to move some of them limbs in there.
Yeah.
But every time I go in there, that happens to me, and also, it's a spot in there, not too far from there. It's a big old patch of cedar trees, and but it's got red mushroom with white spots on them. Them are not native here in Oklahoma. Them red mushrooms like that with white spots on them. I forgot what they call them, but it's a spot down there because I was morel hunting off in there, and I seen them dadgum things. I said, man, I only seen them on TV, Cause I bet not in them, and I never bothered them, but it's a certain time of year they grow right there. I found them like 4 or 5 different times. They're solid red mushroom with white spots on them. And I heard them are highly poisonous. But then I also heard they were native to Oklahoma. That had to have been transplanted here or something.
JR said, sounds like a limestone cave system would have lots of sinkholes and interconnection. And they live underground. These things live under.
They do.
Amanita, JR says that mushroom is called Amanita muscaria.
Oh, yeah.
Our trackers also.
I was about that foot. Since they are good size, the minimum for a juvenile is like 3 foot apart. So wherever that first footprint, it's at least 3 foot to 5 foot.
Yeah.
The next one, and then if they're bigger than that, it goes even further than that. So that's why I was asking about the 1 foot, because that next one is going to be, and if it was near water, it may be in the water and crossing through there or something.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the spider crawl?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it can also, that's another thing it can do, like go from the 2 feet out to fingertips and toes
So if you find
It's,
a
yeah,
whole bunch of little
all the way
holes,
out.
whole
yeah.
bunch of
See, I
little
think
holes,
that's
like
what that. I think that's what that thing did when I seen up that daisy, that long red arm that I seen behind that tree.
Uh-huh.
Because when it seen me, I think it noticed me noticing it, and
Yeah.
that's when it made its move. Because
Yeah.
it never moves, and that was the only. It was like putting a light bulb in a dark room. You know what I'm saying? That's what it looked like when I looked out there. Because I've never seen it there before, and I seen
Yeah.
that long shaggy arm. That hair looked like it was 5, 6 inches long, and
Yeah.
it disappeared. It translucent and disappeared right there. Boom, just like that.
It looked like dead pine needles.
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah.
I said, I guarantee you that was a juvenile.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was kicking across the road actually, and it heard me coming up that road. It hid behind that tree, and that's when I seen it, and I thought it was a pig.
And they can also jump incredibly far and high. And so
Oh yeah,
that, you know,
So you thought that snap of the tree snap was a pig?
yeah. At first I did. That one on that river, I heard,
he's trying
yeah.
to rule things
But
out.
then, but as loud as it was, that tree sounded like it was a 10-inch tree. It was like it echoed all down that riverbank like man no other. Hi-yow, and then it started tree knocking. The
And then,
tree
yeah,
knocked to the left.
so are pigs
Yeah.
normally going to pick up a tree knock?
Yeah.
And,
I mean,
you know,
yeah, it pick up. Yeah. Huh?
there's other smells that they have too. They don't all just smell like that Bigfoot funk. Some can
Oh yeah.
actually smell like almost like a candy sweet smell.
Yes,
Some
I've smelled that before.
Some can smell like a fresh pine forest, but there's no pines around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that, now, since we said that, and I've smelled that down there while I hunt. Another spot I hunt over here, Lebanon. It ain't nothing off in there but cedars. Cedar trees. It's 99% cedar trees down there. And I smell pine.
You know,
And
cedars are one of their favorites because they make those blinds where we call them pull
yeah,
downs. You know what we're talking about? When
yeah,
they're snapped down, and that's usually the first way that they're building their blinds to hide. And it'll be a lot along trails too, game trails, and they'll weave in
yeah,
other trees. You've seen that?
And they also have that frankincense and myrrh kind of smell, kind of like
uh-huh,
incense. And
yeah,
of course, they have the no scent where they just mask that scent, so you can't smell them if they're right next to you, translucent.
yeah. Because I've been sitting in the woods hunting like I always do. I like to stalk, with my recurve. But I've sat in the woods and I've get weird smells like that before, and also hear my name. I hear somebody like, "Hey, Wes." Yeah, I said, "Yeah, all right." 44 gonna talk. That's
Now,
super funny, boy.
You know, a while ago when you said one hand on the Bible and one hand on the trigger,
Yeah,
cross.
one hand on the cross, one hand on the trigger, I thought, oh, that sounds like a song we need to write.
yeah, I guarantee you.
It does. That's where we do it too.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah, heck
whenever
yeah.
now, is your son a professional long distance baseball player, thrower?
No, he could have been though.
No, what I'm saying is, when he's throwing, you're getting pegged with these pebbles, or they're hitting
Oh
around you.
yeah, I know,
Your son
right?
is 100 yards away.
Yeah, and that was like that's probably 50, 60 yards from the brush because
Yeah.
they had bulldozed a bunch of brush up, and you can't throw a rock through some of that stuff. And that's what it was coming from that direction, the same direction we walked in. I walked in up in there by myself, and he walked down the ridge, and it's coming from that big giant brush pile. I mean, that brush pile is tall as a house, and it's about, I don't know, 300-400 yards long because they piled it up in a long, but it's all grown up now, but that road's still in there. But only time we ever had these incidents is on like after a storm or doing a rain or something like that. That's when we have all our incidents. You know,
Whenever you heard that growl and you said, "Don't point a gun at it," what was you talking about? Don't point a gun at what?
well, because I got old bad knees. I can't run.
Well, I mean, what was you saying? Like, if it's a pig, don't point a gun at it. Is that what you're saying, or are you saying
No, I
if
said
it's a Bigfoot?
yeah,
Don't
point the gun at it. You piss him off because we don't piss him off with these shotguns.
He said, "I can't run." So
Yeah,
like when you said, "Don't point your gun at it," I was going. You need to elaborate a little bit more. Say, "Don't point your gun at that Bigfoot if we see it." You know.
Yeah, and I piss him off because a buddy of mine said that guy that killed that pig, that was pig hunting. He said when he seen that Sasquatch jump out there and kill that pig, before he did that, he said he aimed that gun at that thing, and he seen that mug face and just growled at him. He said it smiled at him because he slammed that pig with his arm, and that pig stopped. And it started jerking around. He picked that pig up, slammed it up against the tree, threw it up underneath his arm. It's a female, throw it up underneath his arm. And he said he was looking at it, but through his scope, he turned his scope up, looking at it, and he said it looked straight up at him, like he knew he was in that tree. I said, yeah, they know you're in that tree.
But it was not. That was not a friendly smile of guardian, or that was a
grin.
baring of the teeth.
Yeah, a grin, like I'm thinking pick the meat out of you.
You're like, he said, you want to take that shot?
I got it first.
Yeah. Yeah, he said he was going to pull the trigger.
He's also saying, if you want to take that shot, you better be a good shot because I'm going to come and eat you.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he didn't pull the trigger. He said he left it standing all down there. He never did go back and get it.
Yeah, there's a lot of reports. A lot of reports of those hunters got the 308 or whatever, and they just said this gun ain't big enough for that thing.
Yeah.
Heck no, that's why I shoot a 338.
Can we talk a little more about the one that was in the water that your friend thought was a log? That's something else that's in it, but people don't realize how they're in the water.
Yeah, he said he sat there to fish. He got there in his van, put his rod and reels out, and the same place. This is the same place that I've had my two. I seen the wolf, and that thing hit my truck right there in the same spot. And he said he was sitting there, and he had his reels out, and it's probably 200-300 yards across to the other side, and the bank is probably 50-foot bank. But he said he heard. You know how old beaver sound when they flop their old tail in the water? He said he thought that's what that was because he heard it over on the other side of that river. He said he heard that sound and he thought maybe it was a beaver. So he sat there and fished for a while, about 10 minutes. He said he seen it look like a log floating towards his way. There wasn't no water moving. The water was calm. He said it was just floating up and down. It'd go down and it'd come back up. And he said he thought it was a log. He didn't think he didn't pay no never mind. And he said he sat there a little bit longer and it got closer. And he said he probably got about 50 yards from him. And he said that gum thing looked like an arm. It raised up and you can see, like he said, it don't look like a head coming out of the water. And then he left. I don't think he's been back in Marshall County since. But he left his rod and reel and all down there. Yeah.
Whenever you had that vehicle hit on the side, was it like a flat hand, do you think, or was it like a
man? It looked like it looked like it actually looked like a 2-inch pipe because on that was a 97 Ford F-150, and on the door the factory put a crease on the door where the crown mold is. There's a factory crease in the middle, and that crease is actually pretty harder than anywhere else on the body of them trucks. And that thing hit my door so hard, and I had a bunch of chains and stuff in that door. It hit that door so hard it rattled. I had a 7 mag a 30-06 right there in the seat, in the front seat with me. A good thing I didn't have a pistol, because I'd have been replacing a door. Boy, it hit my door so hard. It hit it fast and hard 3 times. And before that, and what really tripped me out is, I said, ain't nobody gonna be out here 1:30 in the morning, especially out here. Cause I thought somebody got on my pickup and pushed down on it. They didn't jump on it. They just pushed down on my truck, and my truck rocked a little bit. And I didn't think nothing of it. Then it did it again, boom. But my senses telling me, my senses was telling me, hey man, this ain't right. He said, you better get on up out of here. And about that time, that's when I hit my brakes. Cause like I said, I run LED real bright lights in all my pickups, and I couldn't see nothing out of my passenger side mirror. Cause when I do it, I can see something behind. I can see my lights shining in the back, my tail lights. But I couldn't see nothing. It's like something standing at the door, and I'm running. Mind you, I'm driving 20 miles an hour, just cruising down that road. Cause I just pulled my friends out, and I hit my brake, and I looked at my driver's side right here. I had it down about 5-6 inches, and I could see everything behind me through that mirror. And I looked over here, I couldn't see nothing, and I just got, a chills down. I just got chills all over my body. Like, you better get out of here, Bubba. Better hang a foot in that radiator. That's when it happened. That's when it hit my door.
Was it kind of like looking through your rearview mirror? Like there's something there?
My side mirror, my passenger side door mirror. It was something blocking it. There was something there that was blocking the light from my tail lights. I could see it on my driver's side. I couldn't see it on my passenger side. And that's when it hit my door.
Mask that blocked that light.
Like a black mask.
Blocking the light. And that's when it was something there. And I was just standing out. I was just standing out there too, behind my truck.
Oh yeah, you barely got in.
Yeah, I mean, I was just standing there. I was a big old giant tree there. I mean, that tree is this monster tree. It's the side of you can put it on top of a cab of a full-size truck and then smash it. It covered that whole truck. That's how big around this tree is. And I just passed that tree too.
So you was coming back to your truck and got in when all this happened?
Yeah. I was sitting on the back, and I got a Gatorade out of my ice chest. And I sat there for a minute thinking, man, it's freaking awesome out here. It's quiet. You hear the crickets. And then it got quiet. And every animal in the freaking woods just shut up. You couldn't hear nothing. And I got back in my truck and shut the door, locked the door, and I was cruising down the road. And then that's when it first rocked my truck. And then it did it again, about another 10 feet. And then about another 10 feet, it did it again. And that's when I got that feeling. I started to reach over and grab that 7 mag, but I didn't want to replace no windows at the time. That's when it hit the side of my door. Bam, bam, bam. And it's a 90-degree turn right there. And I guarantee you, I'm the only man that made that turn at 55 miles an hour. I never hit it. It was a cattle guard and 2 fences, and I never touched neither one. I had my foot hanging out that radiator until I hit that highway going to Madill. I had to slow down because my truck started to float. On that loose, on that gravel. And I was afraid, man, my mind said, you better slow down, Steve, boy. You roll this truck and something gonna get you. So I slowed down, and when I got to town, boy, I looked on my truck. I looked in the back of my truck. Yeah, that was it for this old cowboy. I didn't go back down there no more.
Yeah. And they can run up to 55, 60 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah. This one guy said he had a wolf run upside his semi-truck, I've seen this the other day that he said he air brakes went out on his trailer. So he found a little spot in the Cascade Mountains. He took a shortcut, in that semi, taking part to a little town. And he's losing air brakes, losing air in his rear trailer. And when you do that trailer, the tires will lock up. So it took him about 5 minutes laying on the ground. He said he got it fixed, and he heard something in them woods. So he got in his truck, took off. He said he was running about 55, 60, and he said he looked in the rearview mirror. I mean, his passenger side window, and he said he seen this freaking creature running up on him with a long snout. He said they ran up on him and stuck his head in the door, running beside his truck. Stuck his head
Yeah.
in the door, and he said telepathically, he said this creature telepathically said, I got you now. There ain't nothing you can do about it. I got you. And he said about that time, he reached down and pulled that 357 out, put 2 rounds in that eye socket. And he said he folded up and hit the ground, made all kind of noise when he hit the ground, and government paid him a visit.
Yeah.
Said y'all killed. He said the government told him that he killed their asset. However you said.
That's what they call them. They're assets.
Yeah.
And you know, we like when I was a kid and then where we live now, I used to coon hunt. Me and my cousins used to run those dogs. You know, we was out at midnight till daylight.
Yeah.
But we didn't have all this going on at that time. Or I mean, if we
Yeah,
did,
didn't.
we didn't know about it.
It's worse.
Exactly.
But now,
Didn't pay no man.
since 2020, everything just seemed to like
Bust
when
out.
COVID and all that happened. It's like they didn't have anybody in the national parks. They didn't have anybody visiting state parks. It's like they just all came
They advanced.
into the towns, into the local areas.
They're going through the canals and the
You know the
sewage
Toka sheriff.
systems.
The Toka sheriff. I had a buddy over at Caddo, had an archery shop, and the old Toka County sheriff was over there getting a bow fixed, and we got to talking about bears and stuff. And as you know, for decades they said they've never had bears come in the town of Atoka. And he said here lately they've been running bears and chasing bears down in Atoka. And I'm thinking when he's saying that, you know, that's the creatures pushing them out, pushing them into town. That's pushing them into town. You know, that's why we're seeing more things now. You know, it's close to end times too. And like the Bible said, you're gonna see things your brain ain't gonna comprehend. You know, if you can see inside the spirit world, you go crazy.
Yeah.
You know, your brain can't handle it right now. That's why you got to do a little at a time. Keep God on your side. You know,
Exactly right.
That's the way I live. You know,
and you know when deer come into town, when bears come into town, when cougars come into town, when coyotes come into town, there's a bigger predator outside of town.
Outside of town, and the spots I've been hunting, I ain't been seeing deer like I used to. I used to go out there and see 10, 15 deer. I used to have bucks walk 5, 6 feet from me because, you know, I go all out in ghillie suit and stuff, you know, and stalk around. I've had deer come up and smell on my knee before and stomp and look at you real quick, they jerk their head down and turn away to see if they can catch you moving. That's the reason why they do that. They turn away and look at you real quick. And, you know, I ain't had nothing like that in the last 2 or 3 years.
Same here.
Last year, I guarantee you, I killed 3 deer. And I got lucky on them because it's one spot that I hunt nobody goes to. And it's kind of squirrely, but me and my 44 go off in there. We go anywhere. And I walk the creek bottoms down off in there. You know, I had a big cat.
I'm sorry. Antlers used to be called the deer capital of the world. And now, you know, a lot of people aren't even getting them this year or the last few years.
Yeah, all these places we've been hunting and stuff, man. I see a lot of different tree limbs, structures and stuff like that, bones and stuff stuck in trees, especially down that Greasy Bend. That kind of freaked me out. I kind of moved it around a little bit because I thought maybe somebody did it, but I don't think they did. Scratches on trees.
Is that the official name of it, or is that like the local name?
Yeah, it is. Greasy Bend. It's that river runs through Tish. I think it runs into Texoma, actually.
Okay.
And also, you know, since I used to, you know, run out in the woods like that, I used to sleep out in the woods and things like that.
Yeah.
But, you know,
no gun
now
or nothing.
whenever I talk about, you know, Bigfoot and things like that, you know, especially around here, they'll say, well, I lived here 50 years and I ain't never seen no Bigfoot. You know,
we need to get off the couch.
I'm going, so have I.
Yeah.
You know, I've lived out here and we're out here in the mountains. But since about 2020, it's just exploded everywhere.
There weren't
It
all these
has.
bows all over the
We didn't
forest
have
when
structures,
we
bow
both grew up in
trees.
the woods.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've changed. It's
Yeah,
not that they weren't
it
always
has.
around. They were always around, but they were further out,
Yeah, they weren't
you know.
here. It's
Yeah.
Now they're up looking in everybody's windows and
Oh yeah, I can
like
tell
somebody
that
dropped
nature.
off a lot of assets.
Uh-huh.
yeah,
I can tell nature changed too. Some
yes.
parts.
Yeah.
There's different things growing now that we ain't had in 10 years. I mean, look at the weather. Look how the
Yeah,
weather changed in the last several
yeah,
years.
Hmm.
You
yeah.
know, right now we
And
can't
so
tell summer from winter.
Hmm.
You know,
besides
from
all
fall.
these abominations, then you got the mad scientists and the
Oh
military,
yeah,
mutating those,
all
picking
this
their
AI
favorites
and
so they can
cloning.
have their super soldiers. And it's just a
Mm-hmm.
whole cauldron of things.
So
Yeah,
do you think Blake Shelton might know what's going on
I
around his
wondered about
property?
that.
hey, I don't know. I run into him a lot, and I've been going to ask him about several things like that, but I don't know. I know he had because down there where he lives, that's where we hunt at around his property, and on that government land. And man, we've heard some. I've heard some wild things down there. That day, that morning, we heard that long scream. I guarantee you, it was 3 4 minutes. It's probably longer than that. If I
Yeah,
text my brother and asked him about it, he'd say, "Man, that was the longest." Because we sat there and we were saying, "Man, ain't no way a man can sound that, do that, make that sound that long." You
right.
know, we did it for a long time. You know, it's just that place down there is different. I mean, you better not go up there by yourself. I wouldn't go up there by myself.
Yeah,
And like I said, I mean, I ain't afraid of nothing but God, but I ain't stupid either.
that's
Yeah.
You know?
right.
Yeah.
And he says, don't tempt him. And
Yeah.
people are on the menu, period. The homeless are at a disadvantage because they hide
Oh
where these
man.
things hide.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
runaways, isolated people,
People
uh,
disappearing left and right.
children, the
Yeah.
Yeah.
elderly.
And
Yep.
like the homeless and the ones who want to do the drug or have the
Yeah,
drinking parties,
yeah,
they're going off into the woods to find a place not to be seen.
yeah.
Yeah.
And these things are going, oh, well, hey, this one's trying to hide. This one's trying to
Yeah.
don't want to be seen by them, so they won't be missed.
And
Yeah.
when the homeless
Exactly.
disappear, we care,
Yeah.
compassionate people care, but for the authorities, they don't care because
They
that's
don't care.
problem solved for them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not going to look into
Yeah.
it.
They don't want to go to the paperwork and all the manpower and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a human soul. They got a soul just like the
Mhm.
rest of us,
that's
you
right.
know?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
the females in these Bigfoots and things like that, they're the hunters, they're the stalkers, they're the ones that kill. The
Mm-hmm.
uh, the males they carry the offspring, and they teach the offspring how to kill. I mean, they will kill too. They will um, eat, whatever they can get, but it's
The primary.
generally the
Yeah.
female that's the pack leaders, the hunters, the stalkers, the
Yeah.
one who, and like
And
you're
see,
saying, he could tell it's a female that one blow on one of those pigs, and then to pick it up and
God,
slap it against
slap
a
it against that
tree.
tree. And with that first blow, you can hear them bones. I mean, he said it just, that was it. And he started picking up, slam against the tree, throw it up underneath his arm, looked up at that mug, smiled, grinned at him like, yeah, well, you look, I'm eating this pig. You know,
Yeah.
walked off like it never existed.
Awful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They'll even look. They do such sadistic things. Um, they'll reach inside a coyote, for example, and pull it inside out. It doesn't even seem like it's possible, and tie it
Yeah.
in a knot. Uh, just sadistic things, popping the heads off of things and watching the life leave
Yeah.
from the eyes, collecting that soul. This is not a normal animal,
Yeah. It's not.
God-made predator. These are abominations. They were not
Yeah.
supposed to be here. People are
Yeah.
calling them our big brother and our some deluded lady the other day was saying she's learned more from them than any human, and they're so superior to us and so much better than us. And oh, it just makes me ill. These are the people encouraging others to go out there and tree knock themselves and feed them and establish relationships with them, not knowing these people are bait.
Yeah, people ain't got no knowledge of that stuff. They need to. Yeah, that's
And
why I
these-
gave my son my 357 mag, because he was packing a 9mm. I said, well, that you might as well be packing 22.
Yeah,
I
you
said,
need a little bit
Just
more
make it
power.
mad. Yeah.
yeah, I
Unless
gave
you
him,
know where to put that, unless you're good, know where to put that bullet right in that eye.
bullet. Yeah, silver tip copper,
Yeah.
custom made
You know,
357.
they this thing also has night vision. It's got a thermal
Oh,
like
yeah.
a snake because of that DNA. So whenever like all of y'all were, those other guys jumped up to shoot into the woods, it seen y'all raise up.
Yeah, it did. It knew exactly what we were going to do before we did it.
Yeah, and you know, there's movies where there's people who are running behind a tree, running behind a bush, and they're thinking they're hiding from these things, but these things see just like it's daylight.
Yeah.
So they're seeing these people run and crouch
Yeah.
behind a bush, run behind a tree, and
Yeah.
it's going, I still see you.
Not to mention
Oh,
the
yeah.
smell.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then, so whenever all of y'all or all of them pulled up, you know, this thing just got behind a tree
That's it. Yeah.
and waited.
And-
Now it's going, you know, that's a lot of bullets. That's
yeah, it's a lot of bullets. 18, 7 times, because I didn't shoot not one of mine. Because
Yeah.
they say, oh, while they loading
Then
up, I'm, you know what I'm saying?
and then it
You
walked
know.
again, letting you know, I'm here. You didn't touch
I'm
me.
Yeah, exactly. That's when we left.
But the people who were shooting, they think, you know, if we're all shooting, we're gonna hit something.
It might hit
Yeah,
each other.
yeah, that's how they were doing it too, swirling it
But-
around.
Yeah,
All
and
of
all
it.
it's doing is just waiting behind that tree till they quit.
They'll even
Yeah.
come between to try to get you
And
to
come back.
crossfire.
Uh-huh.
They're
They'll,
cunning.
yeah,
Yeah.
they'll jump in between you. But
That's what I told my son on that. I said, you take this 357. I got that 44. I gave him some custom made bullets that I had made with some silver tip bullets and copper. And I give him them. And I told him, I said, if you get in a situation, boy, it's just between life and death. I said, you kill the brain. The body won't function without the brain.
yeah, there you
Exactly.
go.
Yeah, I said, don't shoot him in the body, the legs, chest. That ain't gonna count. I said,
Yeah.
he ain't a deer or a hog. This is a beast, and that son buck you're a hamburger to him. I said, you put that mug in that eye socket, in that brain, all 7 rounds.
Perfect. Perfect. Good. That's exactly what we tell people.
Yeah, I said, 'cause that body won't function without brain.
Yeah.
So I pack big arm. Everybody tell me, how can you shoot such a big gun? I said, man, this is an old world, and things
Yeah.
are starting to wake up. I
You
said,
are
you need to
right.
wake up.
Absolutely right.
This is the
Yeah.
old world, not brand new. These
Yeah.
things ain't brand new. They've been here.
Nah,
It's like
they've been
Jerry
before
says,
us.
it may be the first one you've seen talking to people, but you're not the first person that
Yeah,
it's seen.
yeah, I guarantee you. I know we walked by. I know there's one out there far where I hunted. You just better not make that mistake. Because
Yeah.
you know, I got at my 450. It's I'm shooting 335 grain bullets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in my 444.
Have you ever noticed the bows? So that's part of their hunting system. And then there'll be a log or roots that have, sometimes they're artificially sharpened, picked at to get sharpened, or sometimes they just naturally are and they're useful, but it'll be under it and they herd the prey through it so that it impales itself or at least wounds itself on, you know, there'll be a log, and then on the far side of the log is what we call them land spikes, and they're herding them through and up over the log, and the prey will get hurt that way. And
Leave
You
a
know-
blood scent.
Yeah, you know, since you said that, I have, and I'm gonna start taking pictures of them. I bought me a new camera system and everything just for that. Now, I got video. I got Technicam on all my hunting equipment, my bows and my rifle, and but since you said that, I've noticed, and I've tripped over them 2 or 3 different times,
Yeah.
and never noticed them before. But about heck, the ones have encountered is probably 10 inches off the ground. Wish they was taller than that, but they broke off, not all the way off, but they broke about 10 inches into a bowl in the ground. And if you ain't careful, and like I said, you ain't careful, you'll trip over them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It'll catch your feet, and it's done me that way 2 or 3 different times. And also, I've had that same thing happen to me with vines. The
Yeah.
way that
Yeah.
they,
Yeah.
they whittle vines into anything.
Vines and roots. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I've
there's
seen that.
even they'll even stretch those vines so tight. There's a place called Stubblefield Lake in East Texas in the Big Thicket area, where when they're coming through with the 4-wheelers hard, those are stretched across and decapitate.
Yeah, I've seen that before too. That's crazy.
You know where
That-
there's waterways, creeks, and ravines, they will knock a tree over, and so that ravine's there, and this is just a place for animals to cross, without going that
yeah.
big ravine. And but there will be a trap here, be a bush or underneath it, it's going to be a cave right there waiting to reach
Uh-huh.
up on both sides. But also, if they drop down to that ravine and run, there's also going to be a Bigfoot down here and a Bigfoot down here.
Oh yeah, and see that's something else I taught my kids when I started teaching them hunting. I took them at an early age, 7 and 8. Taught them what snakes you can touch or what to mess with, and watch your surroundings at all time. I mean, the places we hunt, memorize places that you hunt, places you plant your feet, where you walk at. Always look up, all around you. You know what I mean?
Yes. Good.
You know, and crossing things like that. Remember what you stepped on last time we come through here.
Yeah.
I've seen a guy hurt himself because he wasn't paying attention. And he stepped and almost broke his foot. I said,
Yeah.
man, this world ain't like this. This world is different, man. We got things out here in this world. People, when you talk
They're
to people
setting
like
traps.
that, yeah. But you talk to some people like that, they think you're crazy. I said, well, man,
Not here.
yeah. I see. And I told him, you just be sure when you hunting down here, especially because my son hunts by himself a lot, a lot. And that's another, like I said, that's the main reason I give him that bigger pistol. And I told him, man, you watch your surroundings wherever you go. If something's different, something changed, like the trees broke over, anything like that, or your way that you go, if you got something down, because I know a couple of spots we've hunted before, and we go back, and there's a tree laying across the road, bent over, a couple
Yeah.
broke
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I say, usually I avoid them places, but 9 times out of 10, I'll walk right through them. Like, hey, I'm the dominant one here. And all these 7 shots was done here, too.
But you're still watching.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I
Hey,
watch more for them when I'm deer hunting. When I'm deer hunting now, I watch more for things like that, danger, than I do animals, because I like to sit and read the animal signs. I get a lot of information just watching animals,
Yeah.
deer and stuff
a lot
like
of
that.
these Bigfoots, they know if you're a hunter or a hiker or a camper or lost. But if you come out there with a rifle, they're going to send deer to you. They're going to send a hog to you. They're going to send a turkey to you.
Trying to figure you
Mhm.
out.
They're going to say, get what you need and get out of my woods.
Yeah,
And if that's what you're
yeah.
there for, they'll see you get it and they're gone. And they're like, okay, he's out. No more
And
threat.
see, I've learned from that. I kind of read nature on that for the last 4 or 5 years. I've noticed that. And I got real picky about what I want to shoot. Like I found a spot that I really like like down there on the river. I found a spot down there I really like to hunt, and I might not kill nothing in there the whole season unless it's a big mature deer. And And I've seen a lot of things run through the woods, sweating, deer tongue hanging out their mouth. And I
Yep.
just sat back in my ghillie suit, you know, sit back in my ghillie suit and a little, like a log. I got hunting gear that look like tree stumps, you know.
Hmm.
And man, I've had a lot of animals come up beside me and never knowed I was there, you know. I teach
Do you,
myself, you learn every time you go in the woods. Every day you go in the
yeah.
woods, you learn. You know, you can never stop learning. And
Have
I
you
teach my kids
noticed
that.
the way they'll direct you into shoots? The prey into the way they're laying the logs, the way they're pulling up the vines,
Yeah,
Yeah,
weaving the things,
where
just
like
like
you
a
have to go
yeah,
this
they try to
way.
guide you.
yeah, and you end up in a
Yeah,
trap.
yes. That's why I told my son, don't try to go. I did go,
Yep.
like a white-tailed deer, they go in a trail that
Yeah,
ain't,
that trails. Yeah, those Bigfoots, they watch those deer trails. They watch the hiking trails.
oh,
You know,
yeah.
that's they know this is
Four-wheel
food.
trails.
Food
Yeah.
walking. For these
Uh-huh.
people, there's food. There's food over there walking that trail. This hiking trail, there's food walking there.
They watch the parking lots,
Oh,
the
yeah.
everything up around game
This
stadiums,
yeah,
everything.
what was talking about with that, that tree that's over that ravine.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you a real quick video, and I'll stop it probably just after a little bit, but just to show you and what we found and what you'll find, what we're talking about, where that we call it a Bigfoot bridge, because
Yeah.
it's made for animals to walk across it, and some big enough for humans too. And I've seen people walk across that. But let me play this real fast. Oh, that's the wrong one. Um, let's see.
While he looks for that, do you notice how the ravens and the
Oh,
crows
here it is.
will
Oh, sorry.
put you in the crosshair, or they'll alert on you?
Oh,
They
yeah. Hey,
work
I've
with
had
the
owls.
predators.
Yeah, I had owls do that to me. Fly down
Owls
at me
too.
like I was getting too close. Here
Yep.
lately,
Yeah.
last couple of days here lately, I've been seeing uh, groups of crows on the ground. I've seen them today, matter of fact. Groups of crows close to a water, uh, a watering hole out in the field. 10 or 12 groups. I've been seeing that here a lot lately. You know,
Yeah.
you learn a lot from animals and birds and just reading their signs that they
Yeah.
give
And
you.
well, they'll alert over the top of you to let the bigger predators, because when the big predators eat, they eat. So they'll
Yeah,
find that lone person walking and alert on them. Tell
yeah.
off.
Hey, let me show you this video real fast about this
All right.
Bigfoot bridge.
Are brute strength, strangling, breaking necks, biting, crushing, and decapitation, as well as drowning and suffocation. Razor-sharp claws or teeth to rip prey apart. TrackerE takes the lead tracker position. As TrackerE observes the ambush place, I stand guard, awaiting TrackerE's report.
I found tracks and the ambush spot in the exact location under the bridge. I waited for my support, then observed for sound or movement. From the entrance, I could see the bridge, signs of struggle, and anything moving in the area. The cave was intentionally and strategically dug out and hidden. It was roughly L-shaped, approximately 12 feet deep on the stem end, and approximately 5 to 6 feet wide from top to bottom and side to side. I entered the cave and could almost stand upright. I'm 5'8" tall. I could see the shafts of light above shining through the holes I mentioned earlier. They lit up the longer section to the right or north so that I could see the sloping ceiling of the section being dug out in the back. The entire area looked well used with little debris. Looking upward, I could see reinforcing wood intertwined. My feelings informed me it was time to back out. My support was at low ready, so I exited. The way I had entered was too steep and covered in mud and not returnable, so I made my way down to the creek bed through a narrow runoff channel that was rib-high on the sides and full of roots, debris, sharp sticks, and snags from the knees down. We made our way back to base and also cast a set of juvenile Bigfoot tracks.
But that big tree was over that ravine, and you're gonna find those trees like that on small creeks. They're using it to get animals across it. Then there's gonna be a trap on both sides.
Yeah. I've seen that in several places.
Yep.
There was a time that when I first started realizing where I used to live, what was going on there, they would break these pine trees off, maybe by 8 inches around, top and bottom, and they laid them across this. It was like a cut through trail just for four-wheeler, for the land developer to get through to show the property off, right? And they would lay, like, I think it was 11 to 13 of those poles across, just trying to block that road. And I would move them and they'd come back, and then I kept taking the trail, once we'd bought the property. And then the foliage was pulled over from both sides of the trail. And if I hadn't known that the trail continued, just a new person walking through there would go, oh, well, this is just a wall of foliage. There's nothing behind that. But I cut through it because I knew, but they had made that, we call that like tree line skirting or pull-ups, where they're just making a block of foliage. I cut through that. And then it wasn't too long after that they knocked over a 23-inch tree, and they know exactly which tree to go because the full top of it landed directly across that trail.
Yeah.
And that's when I started going, wow. And then it wasn't too far after that I found because I went around it. But that also causes you to have to go into the woods where they're at. It's another way of directing the prey around. It was not too long after that I was finding the axes and that's keep out for them too. It's territorial. And then the big structures, well-developed structures back in there.
Yeah, I found a lot of structures like that back up there in southeastern Oklahoma where I hunt. A lot, and it took me a long time to piece it all together. What it all means, because we heard screams back off in there, and and that one day we was down off in there hunting, all wildlife was alive, and then about an hour into the hunt, the whole woods was quiet. We didn't see nothing that whole weekend we was there. The next day it was the same way, and the Sunday before we were gonna pack up and leave, we did a evening hunt. We finally started hearing birds. Little birds started chirping in first, and then blue jays, and then redbirds. I've been seeing different birds here lately that I ain't never seen before. Different color birds. And that's a sign of nature changing.
They'll also use the spider webs to, in fact, in a lot of places, like even here on the back part of the property, they'll lay their blinds out almost in a very strategically, almost if you drew lines, it would be spokes or like a spider web, a blind here, one here, one here, one here, just the same as a military would.
And then further out, they'll be the same way, and further out, be the same way.
Yeah, and but anyway, but they also, so they're spider-like in that. They got the spider DNA, this cosmic spider DNA. You'll find out when you read the book or watch some of our playlists. But they also use the spider webs to know how high, and you probably do too as a hunter, to know how high, if something has gone through and broken that spider web, how tall it was, or
I've had
spiders. Go ahead.
I've had my tree stand jerk from up out the tree and just hanging. It's like something grabbed my strap and just pulled it apart.
Yeah.
And I've hunted that. I went back and hunted that same spot, but I've never had nothing else happen. But I've had things like that happen to me. But my cameras, what tripped me out here in the last several years. I use game cameras quite a bit. At the first of the year, I don't use them during during hunting season, and because of the fact that people like to take them home with them, and but the ones that I've used before season and everything, so I can get a kind of locate where the bucks are going. I've had weird things happen to my cameras, like whiteouts, real bright lights on some of my pictures. Some of them is blank. Some of them
Black.
go off at night, and I had some that didn't go off none of the daytime, but at night, and it's like something blocking it, and a bright light on the left top hand part of the picture, stuff like that. And I've never had that before, besides the last couple of years. So,
We tell people when we're teaching them how to keep them away from their homes, we tell them put their game cams towards their home and away from their home and use them as a deterrence because they don't like the cameras.
they don't like a camera. That's exactly the reason why I put that one behind my tent when we was camping up at Davy. And that sound that I was hearing, that tinging, that ting, 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 it was behind the camper. I mean, behind the camera. Yeah. And it put me out because it did that for a long time. And it sounded just like something got that. And it took about 4 of them dings, 4 of the sequence of the ding for me to realize that ain't no raccoon. Because it's making that same sound and 3-4 seconds apart from each other.
It's trying to get you to come out.
Sure.
Yeah, it tried more than that. It had to do more than that for me to get out of there. But I sleep with my finger on the trigger. That's it up there.
You were talking about Clayton Lake. We know somebody whose father and his girlfriend were gathered up in a tent and drug up the ridge, right?
2 of them,
Down the ridge or up the ridge?
A guy and a woman. Yep.
Oh, yeah, girl, yeah. That's what I told my buddy. I said, boy, something going to wrap you. He said, man, you want to go tent camping with me up here Colorado? We can go elk hunting. I said, nope. I said, so you want to go up there and camping? I said, no, I don't want nothing to wrap me up in no freaking tent where I can't do nothing. You know, I'll be home.
Just a burrito.
Yeah. And you know, that one time when you heard the steps and it was dark time and you were saying, you know, daylight, come on, daylight, you know.
Yeah.
And then you said that you wanted to see what it was. I mean,
it disappeared.
Did you really want to see what?
No, I didn't because you know I had my hand on it. All I had was my bow and a 12-inch Bowie knife. I had a big old custom-made Damascus. My knife is Damascus.
All you had.
Yeah, I said, boy, he'd been a fighting cut-up mug if he grabbed me. But I don't go up in there no more at night. I've heard so many weird daggum things up in that part of the woods. And I've had a lot of people said they witnessed things up in there. My sister's husband, mother, coming from Tish one night, coming from Ardmore. And that road, that's the road that you can turn to go to Tish. And it goes back to Medill or Ardmore. She said she got, at that road, she turned going towards Medill. She said she got about a mile from there. She said she seen something come across that road with a calf, had a dead calf on his arm. She said she don't know exactly what it was, but it was on 2 legs, had a calf on his arm and skint that fence like a bobcat. Hit that road. She said it tripped her out. She said she don't never go that way no more at night. She said before it gets night, and a buddy of mine down at the far bottom, he had a peanut field down there. He was backed up down there against the edge of the peanut field. And he said he was sitting there one day. He had a 30-30 in his truck. He kept that lever action 30-30. He said it was Bigfoot. He said he heard something behind him in the woods. Big old tree fell. And he heard it sounded like it was running at him. He said he throwed that truck in gear, and boy, because I seen Dooley burn marks about 20-30 feet long up through that field right there. He said that was him. He said he heard that, man. He said that 30-30 wasn't gonna do no good. He told that thing again. He left out of there. He don't even got them peanut pills no more.
Yeah.
He said when he gets dark, about an hour before dark, he's gone. He don't spend no time. He said, I'm getting out of here. He don't
You know,
like
right
it.
when it's getting dark, right there at dusk is one of the most dangerous times.
Yeah, that's when they're coming in.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm telling my son, I said, man, well, you can get out of here before dark. But I used to have to wait on him. Way after dark, wait on him to come to the truck. And that kind of freaked me out. I said, well, you're going to have to stop doing that.
Mm.
You
You ain't gotta wait on him no more, huh?
Too,
No, you got to wait on him no more. Yeah.
On the roads, also, we tell people they look for that one lone car going about 55 miles an hour. That's when you see one coming across the road, or maybe they'll run a deer out into the car. Sometimes people say that deer hit me. That happened to me. And they want you to, or they want you to see them. There's a decoy. They want you to follow it into the woods, to stop, to wreck.
To stop and get out of your car.
When you notice an area that's got a lot of roadkill, always, that's going to be one of the areas. Look on either side for a blind. A lot of times the blinds are around curves and intersections.
I had something up with my blind like that once. Since you mentioned blind, I had them down there in the bottom. I was feeding pigs. And nobody knew my blind was in there. I had that hunting blind, a one-man hunting blind. And I had it covered with cedar and a camouflage tarp deal like that there.
I'm not sure if you can do that. I'm not sure if you can do that.
You don't think I can plug it in?
Because it's got using power on this one.
So it's got power? It's okay?
No, I don't know if it'll take too much power from this.
I'm noticing the laptop just got dark. I got up to try to plug it in, but
we're not sure if we can plug this in because we got a new system going.
New equipment we're just trying out today. We still have some things to learn with it. So if it goes dead, you know what happened.
Well, what I'm thinking is we can get back with you on this.
Yeah.
Because I know you got more to talk about because I know you're remembering more things and your friends also. But what we're going to do is if we're going to talk to you or message you after this.
Yep.
Or if you can, do you have our phone number? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Yeah. Send us a message and give us your address, and we'll send you all 3 of our books.
Okay.
So you can read through them and show your family, and even the young ones. You can share the books with them. Yeah. And if you can, make it to the book signing. If anybody has
ever earned our books, it's you.
Yeah. I will. Sure will.
Yeah, we'd like to see you at that book signing on May 16th.
Awesome. I sure will. I sure appreciate it.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close then before the computer closes.
Yeah, we don't want to just be cut off.
Run through any messages real quick, or we're good?
Yeah, let's see if
it just got dark again. We better close it in prayer. We're gonna go.
Yeah,
Malcolm came in, and anyway, I'm sure everybody just very much enjoyed and also cringed at these stories.
Yeah.
Lots of information about these places, and you never know.
I know it. We're gonna have to get together. I got some spots I want to show you. We're going to be daylight though.
Yeah, you're right. We don't need to be out there when we can't see and give them.
I guarantee you, that gives them an advantage.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story.
And
your wisdom. And we named it Steve's Stories. We had no idea there was going to be so many stories.
Yeah.
They illustrate exactly what we're talking about in the books. And what else was I going to say? I lost that thought. But anyway, thank you so much.
Everybody says great conversation. Come back.
Yeah.
Everybody wants you to come back.
Oh, I will.
And I'm sure we'll probably get people saying, "How can he be a guest on our show?"
Yeah.
Would you, if that happens, we'll let you know, and you can just decide
if they're good people with it.
But yeah, But you're a
Yeah.
fantastic guest and a lot of experience. And so,
Oh, low battery.
okay, we're going to pray. Okay.
What about?
Thank you, Lord, just for our new friend, Steve. And thank you for all the wisdom that he shared tonight, all the experiences he shared so that he could help other people. Thank you, Lord, for protecting him, keeping him safe, keeping his family safe. And Lord, just thank you for putting another believer in our lives, and we pray blessings over him and over his entire family, Lord. And we thank you for it all. Bless our trackers, take care of them, and thank you for a good stream, and just thank you for it all, Lord. We love you so much. In Jesus' name, the name of Yeshua, amen.
Amen.
Amen. All glory go to God.
Woo! You're right. You're right. Well, thank you,
Amen.
Steve. And
You
man,
bet
it's
you,
so
brother.
good meeting you at
You
work and
too,
here. Yeah,
brother.
we had a good time after we knew we could talk. You know.
Yeah, I guarantee you,
Then
we
we was
do it
like,
again.
then we were talking all the way.
I'm going to send you a couple of links to some things you might want to watch, that documentary,
Yep.
and then we'll be in touch on the phone
Yeah.
Okay.
or
All right.
through
Sounds good.
Messenger.
Yeah. Send us
Sounds good.
that, and we'll get that into the mail just as soon as we can to you.
Have a good
Okay, I'll
evening.
show you. Y'all do too. God
God
bless you.
bless.
All right. God
Uh,
bless.
later, brother.
Later, brother.
Later.